Hello and welcome back to the White Lights Media Championships for the last session of the championships. We're starting off here with the 93 kilo men. Up first we have Henry Burton with 145 kilos. I'm joined here in the booth once again with Stefan. Hello.
Hello, hello. That is a tall man.
That is a
very tall man.
Only weighing in at 88.7 kilos as well, so room to fill out. There was a good lift, 2 to 1. We now have Aidan Horn coming to the platform with 160 kilos for his opening lift.
Okay, so that was actually a red goal walkout from the left referee. The bar is loaded, 160 kilos for Aidan Horn.
And here comes Aidan. 160 on the bar. He gets the squat command. That's a comfortable opener.
And that is 3 white lights, a good lift. Up next with 165 kilos on the bar, we have Dan Bush. So these are 2 pretty full flights. We're going to see 93, 105 and 120 men. Both the flights are of similar size. They're pretty full. So strap in, you're in for a treat. 165 kilos on the bar for Dan Bush. We're going to be jumping in between age groups. We've got junior and open both in this session. And he gets the other, if we say 3 white lights. 175 now for Kelsey Simmons. Bar is loaded for Kelsey Simmons, 175 kilos.
Not allowed to have the wrist wraps
Yeah.
before heading on the platform. Have to be done up.
Yeah, the TC normally would catch that, but it seemed to slip by. It is the last session after all. He has to have, as you said, his equipment all sorted before he steps onto the platform. Sorted now. The timer actually didn't start, so he's in no danger of timing out.
Nice controlled walkout. Looking confident.
Yeah, nice and quick
Like
there.
that.
And that is 2 to 1, a good lift. 1, the referee just not happy with the depth there. Underneath the red light, you'll see another small light with a number and a colour, and that will indicate what type of technical error they made, and we'll do our best to tell you what that means as we go on. Up now we have Tyler Cheshire with 190 kilos on the bar.
Hopefully just looking at a smooth run of openers here
Yeah, absolutely.
this afternoon flight.
We don't really want to have to say too much about openers, just nice, easy lifts. Just
Wow.
like that.
Yep, very, very easy.
3 white lights. 195 kilos in the bar now for Sam Kenyon. Very nice and efficient spotting and loading crew today. Many recognisable faces. Sam Kenyon now, 195 kilos.
fight there on the way up, but still looking comfortable.
2-1 there. One of the referees seems to think he had soft knees, but 2 white lights is all he needs. So now we have 197.5 kilos on the bar for Harry David Shepherd.
So Harry weighed in at 96.6. Strong squatter though.
Yeah, nice opener. Yeah, so it's safe to think that he maybe was just over or didn't want to cut necessarily for this particular competition. So he's currently competing technically in the 105s, but amongst the 93s, so I assume that's maybe what he entered as. We have Fraser Sagordi Marriott here, opening with 215 kilos.
Barcelona, 250 kilos, Fraser Sagordi Marriott.
It's an easy walk out there.
Quite a wide stance.
But he'll be happy with that. 215 on the board. We now have Anthony White coming on for 222.5 kilos. Some big openers in this fight.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure we'll see some more huge squats in the flight afterwards with the slightly heavier men, being the 105s and the 120s. And that is 2-1 a good lift. Centre ref just not quite happy with the depth there. But you only need to convince 2 refs. And now we are loading the bar to 230 kilos for Adam Madelin. Yeah, really clean looking opener there from Adam. The referees say 3 white lights.
We now have 232.5 kilos on the bar for Isaac Nathan, who weighed in at 20 kilos by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think there must be an error there because amongst the 93s, I don't think there is a 20 kilo man, nor amongst many crowds. I don't think above the age of maybe 10.
I actually competed alongside Isaac at Bucks last year. Really big squatter. Obviously, you can see that opening at 232.5.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what his true body weight is currently, but 232.5 as his opener. Wow, lovely and deep there from Isaac. Did not cause him trouble.
He'll be happy with that.
Yep, 3 white lights. And now onto the heaviest opener of this flight, Jason Mowan Wu, with 275 kilos. And he is a junior, may I add. So this is absolutely huge. He's already with his openers on 87.9 GL points, weighing in at 91.05 kilos, so still, you know, room to grow in this weight class.
Wow.
Making easy work of 275 and getting 3 white lights for it. We are back to the beginning of the flight now for the second attempt, and we are getting the bar loaded up with 152.5 kilos for Henry Burton. You can see some of the second attempts have been loaded in there. See the jumps that people have made. Just waiting for Jason's now, but once the bar is loaded, we will head over to Henry Burton for his second attempt of 152.5 kilos. A little bit too heavy there, but I mean, you know, his opener looked absolutely fine, so I'm not too sure what happened there. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times it's just a case of maybe sort of composing yourself on the third attempt and looking to retake the weight. It might not have been necessarily a strength issue, maybe something went wrong technically. But yeah, I'm sure he'll be back to get that on the third.
Yeah, and we have said it before that some people do just have a really sudden drop-off, so it could be either, but hopefully he can come back and get that. Right now we have Aidan Horn with 167.5 kilos on the bar. And that is a good lift. Moving up to 175 kilos on the bar now for Dan Bush. 3 red plates. Just seen that Jason Mowan has put in for 290 kilos for his second attempt, which is a mammoth squat. And I think nearing the junior record, actually. Obviously, he can't take it here, but he can definitely show us what he's got, perhaps leading into junior nationals. I think the current 93 junior squat record is held by James Adcock from last junior nationals.
Yeah, it's 303.
There we go, very nice from Dan there. That's a good lift. Another 10 kilo jump for the next lifter, Kelsey Simmons, going up from 175 kilos to 185 kilos for his second attempt. Lovely and smooth from Kelsey there. And that's 2-1, a good lift. Gets a yellow from the centre ref there, perhaps for softening. Yeah, for jumping the command, sorry.
205 for Tyler.
Tyler weighing in at 90.9 kilos, so still pretty light for the class. Wow, a 15-kilo jump not really doing much to the speed there. It's 2-1 a good lift. One ref on the side just not quite happy with the depth. But you know, it can be the case a lot of the time then one hip is lower than the other.
100%, that's quite common. So yeah, it's a good thing that you only have to convince 2 of them.
Cool, imagine you had to get 3 white lights for a good lift. Nightmare. So we have 207.5 kilos on the bar now for Sam Kenyon. This is a 7.5 kilo jump. Nope. It is a 12.5 kilo jump.
Close enough.
Yeah. Almost there. Oh, almost let it roll over his back there, but he managed to bring it back. And 3 white lights. Yeah, that is really hard to recover from.
207.5 Harry, David, Shepherd, Fraser, and Anthony to their ready.
We're just waiting for the referees to finish having a conversation before we can move on. But we are waiting for Harry David Shepherd, who will be taking 207.5 kilos, which is a 10-kilo jump from his opener. And here we go.
I believe he hit 210 last weekend, so assuming everything has gone to plan, this should be here. Oh yeah, brilliant squat.
Yeah, 2-1 at good lift. Again, just one side referee saying he's not quite deep enough, but good lift, it's on the board. 230 kilos being loaded onto the bar now for Fraser Sagordi Marriott. This is a 15-kilo jump. The bigger jumps are far more common, you know, in the heavier weight classes.
And speaking of great hair earlier,
Yeah,
great hair and beard.
you should be a hairdresser.
Got an eye for these things. Nice and controlled walk out there. Should be well within reach. It's the depth, yeah.
It moves very well, and the referees say 2-1, no lift. Yeah, I didn't want to say anything quite.
I've jinxed
Yeah.
it. I've jinxed it. I need to stop doing
I didn't
that.
want to say anything. But yeah, I mean, the weight obviously isn't an issue, but he does have that really wide stance,
Yeah.
which, you know, can be difficult sometimes to get into that deep position, or at least a convincing, you know, position of depth. But the strength is clearly there. He has the option to go up or to take it again. It depends, you know, the risk he wants to take. He has got a squat on the board.
Yep.
232.5 kilos for Anthony White here.
So Fraser has opted to retake 230. We now have Anthony squatting up 232.5.
And unfortunately not quite deep enough this time from the center and one of the side refs. Obviously if you are at a competition where there was a jury, you'd be able to appeal for that, as you only need one white light to do so, but there's no jury here as we're at a regional competition. 240 kilos on the bar now for Adam Madelin. Although the quality of, you know, the production, the day, the stream, you would think it was higher than a regional meet.
Yeah, 100%.
240 kilos now on the bar.
Getting some intensity here. $240 kilo squat. Wow, great squat there. The judges say 3 white lights. Happy with that.
We now have 247.5 kilos on the bar for Isaac Nathan. He's a junior.
15 kilo jump here from first to second.
Yeah, which is huge because that's almost of his body weight of 20 kilos there. Once you guys can see the score sheet, you'll be able to see what we're talking about there. He's fired up for this.
Looks to be in control here. Great squat.
And he gets it up. He shakes his head though, for some reason, but he gets a good lift nonetheless. I don't know if it was a shaking head like, oh man, I got that, that was great, or maybe he wasn't convinced himself.
Yeah. We'll see what jump he takes from second to third, and we'll be able to kind of tell from there.
Yeah, well now, very interesting, we have, and in the first flight of the heavy men, we have another 15 kilo jump, this time to 290 kilos for Jason Mo Wan Wu. And it's to be reminded the current junior 93 record, which can't be taken today but can be surpassed or, you know, gotten near, is held by James Adcock, and that's at 303 kilos. So this is getting dangerously close.
I'm sure a lot of 93s have their eyes on this guy right now.
Wow. Yeah, and that looked fantastic. I feel like potentially at Junior Nationals, should he go, he might be gunning for that record himself.
Yep.
That's a good lift.
So I don't believe James is actually going to be at Junior, and that's, so yeah, potentially opening up that spot there.
Yeah, I believe James is now an open lifter as of this year. So that is up for grabs, and it'll be a great record for him to take. One I didn't think would be broken so quickly. Although it would have stood for a year. Henry Burton now, 152.5 kilos. He missed it on his second, I think for depth. But, or was it on strength?
It was, so it appeared to be on strength.
Yeah.
We'll find out now whether he can make the adjustments necessary to get this on his third. Come on, Henry.
I mean, that looked so much better. Let's see if the referees liked it. Yeah, 2-1, good lift.
Interesting how that always happens.
Yeah, I think coming back with that fire and drive and almost frustration. I was going to say, you know, he's quite tall for the weight class, but actually he's not filling it out quite yet. He's 88.7 kilos. We have the bar loaded for Aidan Hall now, 175 kilos. These are all the final attempts. We will then go straight through to the next flight of lifters. Very nice third attempt there from Aidan. Unfortunately, that was just not quite deep enough. It was a really, really good fight, and you know the strength is clearly there. And as we always say, you just need to sink it a little bit more next time. It's so much easier said than done, though. Sometimes. 182.5 kilos on the bar now for Dan Bush.
Breaking the 400-pound mark here.
Yeah.
Did that in my head.
Did you? That looked very nice. The referees say 3 white lights.
Brilliant spot there. We now have Kelsey Simmons coming out for 192.5 kilos for the third attempt.
6 attempts to change the next group's over. 6 attempts. Following 192.5 kilos, Kelsey Simmons.
Nice big brace. And it goes up nice and smoothly. The referees say 2 to 1, a good lift. Maybe one hip higher than the other there. 215 kilos being loaded up for Harry David Shepherd now.
This will be a 5 kilo personal best all time, not just comp.
Following 215 kilos, Harry Shepherd.
And here he comes.
I think Sam Jew's a great example of that earlier, where it was like an RP6 competition for him.
Did try.
Fraser Segordi Marriott here with 230 kilos on the bar. He's just retaking this. He didn't get it on his second, I believe, on depth for this.
Yeah.
Just needs to convince one more referee at least that he's down below parallel.
Strength wasn't any issue.
Yeah, not at all. We spoke out this before about him squatting with a really wide stance.
Yeah.
It definitely looks deeper from here. The strength is
enough
definitely there.
to please the judges. 2 to 1.
It pleased one more, and that was all it needed. So that is a good lift. 230 on the board. Next on the bar is 232.5 kilos. Again, being retaken because of a depth pull last time. This is for Anthony White. So hopefully he can just sink it a little bit more like Fraser was able to. So 232.5 kilos on the bar for Anthony White. Yeah, and he pushes through. And he convinced every single one of them that is a good lift. It's a good turnaround there.
How you do it.
250 kilos being loaded on the bar now for Adam Madeline.
Bars loaded, no more changes to openers. 250 kilos on the bar for Adam Madeline.
It's a 10 kilo jump from his second attempt. There. Oh, very well caught by the spotters and loaders there. Fist bump to them all to say thank you for saving my life. And unfortunately, just a little too heavy today. Perhaps 10 kilos was just a little too much.
Next time around, I'm sure we get it. We have 260 kilos on the bar here for Isaac Nathan. 12.5 kilo jump from his second attempt.
It is loaded.
Really fired up for this one.
Yeah. He's got slightly more and more fired up each and every time.
Looking confident. Can he get this?
So deep.
Extremely deep.
But you do run the risk when you sink it that far of, not being able to make it back out the hole. A bit too much for him today, unfortunately. And now the last lifter of this flight will go straight into the next flight, as you can see here, is Jason Mo-Wan-Woo. He's not going to break the 300 mark today, but he has gone up 5 to 295 kilos and getting ever so close to it. So this is a huge, huge squat for the junior lifter. And here he comes now, Jason Mo-Wan-Woo with 295 kilos.
Getting less fired up than he was for his second. Opting for that composure. Make sure the execution's on point. He walks it out well. Tried, unfortunately, just a bit too much. Probably the 290 taking quite a lot out of him, which is completely fair.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of weight, so he should be really happy with that. And there's quite a few weeks left until Nationals, so I'm excited to see what he can build in that time. So now we are just going straight into our next flight. We're just having our centre ref have a short break, apparently. Oh, we're fixing up Isaac's body weight as well. He weighed in at 91.6, not 20 kilos, so a little bit different. And while we are pausing now to let the refs take a short interlude, we will thank our sponsors, A7, for supplying the clothes that the spotters and loaders are wearing, and also some goodie bags for the lifters, as well as Alico for providing the racks and plates for us. And this is the last session of the competition. It's been a great competition so far, and hopefully it can end on a high note as well.
Yeah, should be expecting some pretty big squats in this flight as well.
Absolutely. We'll be looking at the 105 and 120 men in this flight. The refs seem to be back in their seats, so we're just getting ready now. He is out of his seat again. I take back what I just said. So here we are. You can see the first lifter in the next flight will be Joshua Coombs, who is a junior lifter at 105, and he'll be opening with 125 kilos. This is also a pretty full flight. It's mainly 105s. There are 3, maybe 4 120s in there, 3.
Yeah, some pretty big squat openers here. A range of sort of 230, 240s.
Yeah. The bar is loaded for Joshua Coombs, 125 kilos.
An incredibly high rack height.
Yeah, wow.
It's a high bar lifter.
It's when you get to the 120 pluses and they're in there for height and kind of almost maxing out the height of the rack. We have 175 kilos on the bar now for William Aitken.
And the bar is loaded for William. Do up his wrist straps for heading on the platform. Straight under the bar, doesn't waste any time. Makes easy work of it.
Really nice looking opener there, exactly how you want it to look. 3 white lights. We now have 185 kilos being put on the bar for Jack Hepplewhite. If you weren't sure of the height of the lifters before, you can see it compared the size of the rack compared to our spotters and loaders now, and as the weight classes go up, they look smaller and smaller, but I assure you it's not them, it's the lifters. Very high bar lifter here.
Easy work of that, was it? One of the judges not quite satisfied with the depth there, but 2 to 1 there is a good lift for Jack.
He had a long way to go down as well. He's a tall man. We have 200 kilos. We have 200 kilos on the bar now for Billy Adlington. And he is an open 105 lifter. Jack Hepplewhite, the lifter before, was a 120, but a very light 120. He weighed in at 114 kilos on the dot, which for some reason I always find impressive, but I suppose you're going to be one of the 10 points on the scale.
But still, you don't see it very often.
200 now for Billy. Wow, lovely indeed from Billy.
Don't speak too soon.
Nah.
And it was lovely.
It was a good lift. I think it's safe to say that if that all got red carded, there'd have been a fuss kicked up. 205 kilos on the bar now for Archie Carter, one of our 3 120 lifters. Again, super light for the class, 114.8 kilos.
Following 205 kilos, Archie Carter.
Here comes Archie.
Beltless as well.
And sleeveless.
And sleeveless.
Wrist wrapless, just completely.
He really said, you know what, I don't want to bother with the faff.
Yeah, just step on the platform, let's do it. Must be easy for him going to train, doesn't have to bring anything with him.
Wow.
Wow.
Lovely indeed. He brought it up so quickly, I feel like the bar got airtime when he got to the top. 3 white lights. And we now move on to Nico Bargioni with 212.5 kilos. Nico is a junior lifter at the age of 18, so just into the juniors. And he's being handled here by Jason Koopman, who is the head junior coach for Team GB. So big time handler there. Knows what he's doing.
Experience under his belt.
Absolutely. Weighing in extremely light for the 105s at 95.9 kilos. I believe he's just gone up.
Wow, makes easy work of that.
Yeah. 2 to 1, good lift. I'm surprised by that, but the referees can see better than we can. 1 for depth there.
I feel like every time I say it goes well, there's always a red light, so.
But lo and behold, when I said it went well, it was 3 white lights.
Yeah,
so
I need to stop speaking until after I show the lights.
220 kilos now for Jesse Mika, again weighing in at 95.9 kilos, so pretty light for the 105. Another junior lifter here. Lovely there from Jesse. That's 3 white lights. We now keep the same weight on the bar for Cyril Yerafort, 220 kilos.
Following 220 kilos for Cyril Yerafort.
I think I was commentating on Cyril's last competition, and he is just the friendliest guy. This is 220 kilos on the bar.
I didn't say anything, it was 3 white lights.
No, that was a very
trend.
good opener. There was 3 white lights for Cyril there.
And here comes Antonio with 220 kilos on the bar.
And the lightest of the 120s here, weighing in at 106.25. Maybe meant to be on 105 today, maybe not.
Yeah, potentially. Or just wanted to be free going into this comp. Didn't want any of the worry.
Yeah. Very controlled on the way down. And the referees say, unfortunately, not quite deep enough. 3 calls in depth, and also the centre referee gave a yellow, which I think was a soft lockout perhaps, or skipping a command, but I don't think it was that. We now have Killian de la Placete,
Nice.
230 kilos.
Fired up for his opener here, 230 kilos. can often tell straight from the opener what kind of lifter they're going to be.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a lot of screaming.
Lovely and deep there from Killian.
Smokes his opener. Yeah,
And yeah.
no issues whatsoever.
3 white lights. See, it's okay when I say it.
Yeah, no, I'm genuinely not going to say anything.
We have Mark coming up now with 235 kilos on the bar. Bar is loaded from Mark. Handled by Sam Coombs, who was handling yesterday, reffing this morning, and handling now. Mark looking cool, calm and collected in the wings there. Wow. That was excellent, and another lifter that just looked so unbothered by the fact that he had 235 kilos on his back. Really fantastic. It's a good lift. George Funnell now as the penultimate lifter to take his opener, and that will be with 240 kilos, weighing in at just 98.15 kilos as a junior.
And here comes George, 240 kilos on the bar. Wow.
Nice moving opener there, and 2-1. I'm not sure I saw what that ref saw. I thought that was extremely deep, but they're perhaps a different position than I am. But it's a good lift for George there.
Either way, he'll be happy with that.
Darren Wilmot now as the last lifter of the whole competition to take their squat opener at 245 kilos. Darren is in the 105s. He weighed in at 104.9, so I think probably had to cut for this competition.
Looks like he's just squatting in just trainers, just regular trainers.
And that is a good lift for Darren. We go back to the beginning of the flight for the second attempt for Joshua Coombs at 135 kilos. Everyone bar Antonio has their opener on. He's chosen to go up anyway, which, as we've discussed, a few times today, you can run the risk of then missing in the second, but also it can pay off in a lot of situations, as we have seen. I believe it was Justin Depth anyway. So 135 kilo for Joshua Coombs.
Drives up 135. Unfortunately, judges not quite satisfied with the depth on that.
Yeah, actually, pretty unusual for the centre ref, to
be the only one. I didn't agree.
But the strength is clearly there, so maybe, like we discussed, he can go up, he can take it again. He's got a squat on the board, so that's a risk that's up to him to
How
take.
risky is he feeling?
Exactly. William Aitken now with 190 kilos in the bar, 15 kilo jump from his opener.
Not risky at all is the answer. It's 135.
Oh, there we go. Did not feel risky. It was absolutely fine. 190 kilos now for William, a 15 kilo jump. I feel like as the day goes on, it becomes easier to just quickly calculate those jumps.
Oh yeah, 100%. It becomes second nature. You start doing it without even thinking.
And he shakes his head, but it looked like a good lift from here. Yeah, and the referees agree. 3 white lights. Maybe something just felt a little funky. But he did pull a face afterwards like, oh, okay, that's good. And it's a good lift. We move up to 197.5 kilos now for Jack Hepplewhite, one of our 120 lifters. He's very, very tall, as you mentioned before. So the rack height is, I think maybe rack height 20 by the looks of it. I think Stefan's trying to count.
Yeah, I am.
It does say there.
Okay. Never mind then. It is rack height 20.
Yeah, and that was a lovely looking second attempt there for Jack. And 2-1, it seems to be the same ref, unhappy with the depth each time, very hard to please, but the other two saw good depth and therefore it's a good lift for Jack. Another 15 kilo jump here. We have for Billy Adlington. 15 kilo seems to be a common choice of jumps for this weight class. What a lovely second from Billy. 3 white lights, yeah. I think that depth is indisputable. 220 kilos now for Archie. As you can see, that is a 15 kilo jump from his opener of 205. He'll be followed on by Nico, who's taken a 10 kilo jump. 220 kilos on the bar for Archie Carter.
No equipment, just brute strength.
Yeah, I mean, by the look of his first attempt, you know, he does not need the equipment apparently. High bar as well.
Yep.
Lovely indeed, just fantastic.
I even feel confident to say that is.
Yeah, 3 white lights. Nico Bargioni now with 222.5 kilos, a 10 kilo jump.
Up. Looks like a good squat to me.
Yeah, I agree with you there. 3 white lights.
Now next up we have Antonio, who unfortunately missed 220 on depth on his opener. Upping it to 225 now. Strength didn't seem to be an issue at all, so seems confident.
Getting amped up now. The strength was clearly there, you know, it's just Digging a little bit deeper.
Looking quite amped up.
Yeah, I would not want to be the bar right now. Definitely deeper. Lets out a battle cry, and the referees say 2-1, a good lift. That side ref really is hard to please today.
Looking for some grass squats.
But, you know, I poked my head round to a better position behind that referee, and it looked good to me. But I'm not the referee, I am the commentator, so my word means absolutely nothing. But luckily, 2 refs agreed with me, and he gets the lift and a squat on the board.
Also to pass us the buttons.
Yeah, just under the table. Jesse Meeker now with 230 kilos for his second attempt. That's a nice looking second attempt there from Jesse. 3 white lights. Sporting a Team Durham singlet. 235 kilos on the bar now for Cyril Yerofor, who's gone up 15 kilos from his opener. Being controlled there. 2-1, a good lift. The other side ref this time not happy with the depth, but 2 were, and that is a good lift. Mark Sawyer now with 245 kilos on the bar, a 10 kilo jump from his opener.
Is that the updated pronunciation of that?
It was, yeah, the MC Joe White, they did come over and let me know that was the pronunciation. I actually avoided saying it last time in fear I'll do it wrong. So if it's wrong, blame Joe White. Mark Sawyer, 245 kilos on the bar.
Looking calm as anything. Wow. That was incredibly fast.
Yeah, the 10 kilos to really nothing. I think he could do that or more for his third. We now have Killian de la Placette, did so well on the first one, who's jumped 20 kilos from his opener to 250.
Clearly felt good then.
Yeah, and he's a junior. He's only just into the juniors as well, and it's at 19 years old. So let's see what this 20 kilo does to his squat. Wow, so deep. He pushes through, and he gets up. Wow. Yep, 3 white lights. It doesn't seem like he has so much more left in the tank after that. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe he's really good at grinding, clearly he is, but, you know...
It's only so good you can get.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe he just wanted to secure that 250 on the second and then just...
And he's done just that.
Throw caution to the wind on the third.
Yeah.
Same
I
way...
do often see people not taking their thirds as well, so...
Yeah, maybe... 250 kilos still on the bar for George Funnell. This is a 10 kilo jump from his opener.
Some big squatters in this fight.
It's
Still sub 100 kilos body weight for George at 20 years old, so lots of room to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And into the weight class as well. Weighing in very light. 250 kilos. Wow, lovely and deep there.
Wow, great squat.
And yeah, 3 white lights.
So Killian has actually jumped 10 kilos from his 250.
I don't know him as a lifter. Maybe that is a perfect call for him.
I hope so.
If I was given him today and had never handled him before, I maybe would have said, you know, let's do a small jump or leave it. But I'm not his coach. I've never seen him lift before, so I could be talking absolute rubbish. For now, we have Darren Wilmot with 255 kilos on the bar. Wow, that was so deep. What a great second squat there. Yeah, 3 white lights. I would have thrown hands if that was given any reds. We're heading straight into third attempts now, and after that there'll be a 10-minute break before bench. Obviously the new rules are in place, so we'll hopefully not see anything too major with that, but if you are interested in knowing a bit more, Lewis Smith, who did ref in the centre yesterday for bench, has put up a story talking about it a little bit, which explains it. But we're kind of playing it by ear, you know, as the competition comes, and just hoping it doesn't affect the lifters too much. Now we have Joshua Coombs retaking 135. And that really smooth. I just stepped away from the microphone there to ask Stefan what he missed on last time. And you seem to think it was depth.
I believe it was that. I remember saying something about it being a really long way to squat down.
Oh yeah, of course. Good memory. And he managed to get it deep enough to satisfy the referees there. So he has that 135 on the board. 200 kilos, that big milestone squat for a lot of lifters, being loaded on for William Aitken now.
Coach, you're wondering what's going on here. Nick Allender has got more years of experience under his belt as a referee than I've been alive, and these two ladies are individuals and not quite so experienced. So you share the benefit of many years of experience with them in order to bring the rest on the latest sport like this. Fast loaded, 200 kilos, William Aitken.
200 kilos, William Aitken, a big milestone. Oh, he pushes through. What a fantastic effort.
Convinced me as he convinced the judges. Yes, that is 3 white lights, 200 kilos squat for William Aitken.
A huge milestone and great attempt selection there. 210 kilos now on the board for Jack Hepplewhite. This is a 12.5 kilo jump. Very controlled and not too much effort actually, turns out. Yeah, I was a little bit worried about the depth there. side referees have the best position for that. You do see that a lot when the centre ref gives it, because a lot of refs like to side with the lifter, which, you know, it should be done, because then the side refs are the ones to make the final decision there, but not quite there today. The strength clearly is, just hopefully a bit more confidence next time with 210. 222.5 kilos being loaded onto the bar for Billy Adlington now.
Bar is loaded, 222.5 kilos, Billy Adlington.
He walks out 222.5 kilos. That is deep. Wow, what a great squat. Wow.
Yeah, wow, what a fantastic third attempt there. 3 white lights. 230 kilos being loaded now for Archie Carter, and will remain on the bar for Nico following Archie.
Bar loaded, 230 kilos, for Archie Carter.
230 kilos on the bar for Archie. Still opting for zero equipment.
Yeah, but all of his lifts have looked so clean.
Hasn't needed it so far.
Wow.
It's a great squat right there.
Yeah, 3
Highlights.
whites. Again, I would have thrown hands if that one was called to death as well.
Now Nico coming out for 230 kilos, which is a 7.5 kilo jump from his second.
Bar loaded, 230 kilos, Nico Bargioni.
See Owen Hubbard there. Man, the myth, the legend. Nico Bargioni, and being handled by Jason Portman. 230 kilos on the bar.
Great attempt selection there, and really well executed.
Yeah, that was a perfect call there. And 3 white lights. 232.5 kilos being put on the bar now for Antonio. He missed his first on depth. He went up just a smidgen to 225. And he has now got that and gone up to 232.5 for his final attempt.
Really intense here from Antonio.
He managed to fight it up. The referees say 1 for depth and a blue from the centre ref there for downward movement. So unfortunately that is a no lift. He does get the second of 225 kilos, so I think it was a good choice to go up in that instance.
You now have 237.5 kilos on the bar for Jesse. Bar is loaded. Walks it out nice and confidently. Gets the squat command. Look, plenty deep to me.
Oh yeah, great fight. I think you're safe to say that there.
Getting better.
Sitting on the side of caution, I think.
Yeah, the curse is over.
Did you just begin the curse again by saying that? 245 kilos being loaded on the bar now for Cyril, who's looked strong throughout.
10 kilo jump. This will be well within reach for him. 235 absolutely flew.
5 more lifters, then we'll have a 10-minute break before heading into bench.
Heads it down and drives it up.
So composed, so controlled, and that is
2 to 1.
2 to 1. Personally, I'm comfortable enough to say I disagree. Your hands might be thrown. That's fine, you know. Again, they're probably in a better seat. I looked on the screen there instead of poking my head around, but it's a good lift nonetheless.
We have Mark, you say it was Sawyer.
Mark Sawyer, indeed.
Coming up for 255 kilos for his final squat attempt. He's another really composed lifter.
Yeah, very cool, calm and collected here. 255 kilos on his back.
Look at him, cool as a cucumber. Wow.
Even when he was fighting for it, he just looked so calm.
No facial expression. Just
2 to 1 there. 1 yellow from the side ref on the far side.
and this one will be interesting. Killian coming out for 260 kilos.
Wow, yeah. And a junior at that.
I think we both agreed that 250 seemed obviously a fantastic squat, really strong squat, but it was more on the difficult side. So 10 kilo jump here will really show us how good of a grinder he is in squats.
Yeah. He knows himself better than we know him.
Yeah.
So let's hope he can come out and prove us wrong. Get up 260.
Let's see it, Killian.
Let's go, Killian. Looks very strong.
Tries it. Oh my word, he's still grinding.
Oh man, that was a fantastic fight.
Wow. Even though he didn't get that, that is still
Huge effort.
still proving me wrong. I feel like he's earned the right to say still proving me wrong.
To say "told you so"
Yeah.
to you. Yeah. 260 remains on the bar for the next 2 lifters, George Bunnell and Darren Wilmot. Let's see if any of these lifters can get that 260 up. The last squats of the championships. George Funnel, 260 kilos on the bar. Here he comes. Great effort. Well done to the spotters and loaders. It was very well caught.
Now for the final squat of this flight, we have Darren Wilmot coming out for 260 kilos. Guess now we're going to see whether he will or will not get this squat.
I'm so sorry.
Like
I was focusing so hard on the screen. I just
it's better
completely
that you
blanked
didn't hear that, actually. It's better that you didn't hear
I think my brain just went back in time and heard what you said. Darren Wilmot, 260 kilos on the bar, last squat of the championships. Lets out a shout, racks it, and gets 3 white lights. What a fantastic final squat of the championships. And now we head into a 10-minute break. We will come back soon for bench. Please do not go anywhere. We will see you then. Goodbye. Hello and welcome back to the White Lights Media Championships for the final session of the day. We have the 93, 105 and 120 men, 2 flights, and we are heading into bench. We are going to be starting off with Aidan Horn with 100 kilos, and the bar is loaded. That looks like good elbow depth to me. Question mark? Does anyone know what that is? 3 white lights. As the competitions become more and more, I'm sure we'll sound more confident in telling you what that is.
A baseline of what to expect roughly.
Yeah.
But for now it's all a bit up in the air a little bit.
The sentences may end in question marks.
Yeah.
That's
that was good.
Yeah. Good depth. 100 kilos on the bar for Kelsey Simmons.
Stop. Press. Back.
Yep. 3 white lights. That was a bench. That was a good bench. I forgot the adjective there.
That was a bench.
It was.
Yeah.
I can confirm,
That was a bench.
folks, that was a bench. And I'm guessing, so will this be.
This is
Also a bench.
also be a bench.
100 kilos on the bar for Harry David Shepherd as well.
Stop. Press. Back.
Very quick, 3 white lights.
Lights.
Moving up to 112.5 kilos now for Tyler Cheshire. We've said this kind of for every lift so far, but we say it again. You know, we shouldn't really have too much to say for the opening lifts because it's going to be a lift you can do, you know, with your eyes shut 3 times over if you have to, and we've seen today that people have had to.
Yep.
So we'll just be here to tell you how they do and what they got in the bar, really.
And to tell you that this is a bench press. Yeah.
I'll be surprised if someone does not do a bench press in the next hour.
You never know.
Stop. Press.
It's a nice looking bench. I have not seen any wrist straps yet. 3 white lights. Got Jason Mo Wan Wu coming up with 115 kilos. If you remember correctly, Jason squatted 290 kilos earlier in the competition. Bit of a squat specialist, perhaps.
Yeah, I can see his deadlift opener is at 275, so definitely not a bad deadlifter either.
I was reading the person above's deadlift opener. Henry Burton to follow with 125, but right now we have 115 with Jason Mo Wan Wu.
Stop. Press. Back.
That is 3 white lights, a lovely opener for Jason. Henry Burton now with 125 kilos on the bar. Got those 2 reds, 2 plated bench. opting for a handout from the spotters there.
Stop. Press. Right.
And that was 2-1, a good lift. I can't see what the referee said, but I think it was for perhaps a bum coming up on one side.
I think Mick Elland is also remarking at how tall all these athletes are.
Yeah, a long way for their arms to come down for most of them, which to be fair with the new bench rule, you know, plays into their favour a little bit.
Yep, deadlift specialists rejoicing.
Elbows. Stop. Press.
He was told to straighten his elbows just before he got the start command. So
The referees say
3 white lights, yeah. I mean, before the head ref give the start command, and if the elbows are bent, they need to tell them that they need to straighten their elbows. They need to give them the fair chance to get into the good position to get the start command. We've definitely seen it before when they've not told them, they've done the lift and then said, oh, you had bent elbows, which obviously doesn't give the lifter a fighting chance, really. 127.5 kilos on the bar for Anthony White. Cloud of smoke on the platform, on the platform of chalk even.
Press. Right.
nice solid opener there. We have Isaac coming out for 130 kilos.
Pass loaded.
Pass loaded. For 30 kilos, Isaac Nathan.
Just a reminder, we're jumping in between age groups in this flight as well, so there are juniors as well as opens. They seem to be kind of split on the board, except for Isaac, who's lifting, you know, amongst the opens here in bench.
Stop. Press.
That's a lovely looking opener there from Isaac.
3 white lights, good lift for Isaac.
Good lift.
We now have Sam coming on for 135 kilos for his opener. Weighing in quite light in the 93 kilo class, weighing in at 87.55. So Sam is followed by Fraser and then Adam to round off the first attempts.
Stop. Press. Right.
Great opener there from Sam. And that is 3 white lights.
140 kilos being loaded on the bar now for Fraser. And following will be Adam, which will conclude the bench openers for this flight. But again, straight to the top of the flight for second attempts. Just explaining to the spotter there how he would like the handout.
Stop. Press.
Makes easy work at 140.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
Those 3 well lights. We now have Adam Madeline coming on for 170 kilos as his opening bench press.
Yeah, that is a big jump up from the rest and a huge opening bench from Adam, lifting the open class. He is 24 years old, so only just. So a huge bench, the 24-year-old lifter. Looking forward to seeing how this moves and maybe where he goes with his second.
Stop. Press. Back.
Just waiting for the third referee there. Yep, 3 white lights, and he made it look really quite easy. That concludes the openers for this flight lifters. Everyone managed to get an open rim, which means they are still on to get a total. We're going to move to the top of the flight now, back to Aidan Horn, who's gone up 5 kilos to 105 kilos as his second attempt, followed by Kelsey Simmons, who's made the same jump. Both of these 2 lifters are juniors, and as you can see, a lot of the first half of this flight are bar Isaac, who falls a little later in the flight. All the second attempts are now in, and they're just cleaning up the platform a little bit. And just for some mid-competition entertainment there, we've got Joe Whiteley singing I Want to Break Free. Aidan Horn now with 105 kilos on the bar.
Stop. Press.
Unfortunately, it just looked a little bit too heavy for him. I'm not sure what happened there. I mean, it's easy to say it was too heavy, but we've seen so many times before, especially today, that people have done that and come back, and then it's been absolutely fine. So,
Hoping he can do that out on his third.
yeah, I'm sure he knows what's happened better than anyone else. So we'll see what he does. For now, we have 105 remaining on the bar for Kelsey Simmons.
Stop. Press.
Nice touch and drives it back up. Should be a good bench press there.
That's 2 to 1, a good lift, just yellow there.
But maybe lifting.
Yeah, from one of the side rests, which usually indicates butt or head coming up. Of course, if it's a side referee, usually that would be the butt, because they have a better angle of that than the head. 112.5 kilos on the bar now for Harry David Shepherd.
Stop. Press.
Nice, big smooth work at 112.5.
Yeah, that was a really good jump, I think, from his opener. It was a 12.5 kilo jump. So not small, but it really didn't seem to affect him too much. A 5 kilo jump now for Tyler, from 112.5 kilos to 117.5 kilos. Bench is a funny one, you know, people make really different choices in their, you know, jumps for attempts. Bar is loaded for Tyler, 117.5 kilos on the bar.
Stop. Press. Back.
Very easy looking second attempt there for Tyler.
We now have Jason coming out for 125 kilos, 10 kilo jump from his 115 opener. Looked smooth, so let's see if he can make similar work of 125.
Yeah, he's already sitting with his squat of 290 and his opening bench and predicted opening deadlift at 89.89 GL points. So very excited to see where he's sitting on that after deadlift, or even after his first attempt or second attempt on deadlift. Now 125 kilo on bench.
Stop.
Gets the start command.
Press.
Makes easy work of 125 also.
Yeah, that's good second attempt on 3 white lights. Moving up now to 130 for the next 2 lifters. The first of those being Henry Burton. 5 kilo jump from his opener.
Henry setting up for his second bench press attempt, 130 kilos.
Stop.
He gets the start command,
Press.
presses it up. Unfortunately, just a bit too heavy, it seems like.
Yeah, we've seen that before with Aiden, you know, where that extra 5 kilos just seemed to be too much. We don't know if it's strength because, you know, we've said that before and they've come back and smashed it.
Again, fingers crossed there you can come back and get redemption on that on the third attempt.
130 kilo remains on the bar for Dan Bush. Another 5 kilo jump. Taking his time, waiting until he's ready. Make sure that his setup is right.
Stop. Press.
Locks it out. And 2 to 1. A yellow from each side, which makes me think that his bum came up. Yep. That's been confirmed now. So unfortunately, that is a no lift. Anthony White now with 132.5 kilos on the bar. The 5 kilo jump. Seeing quite a few 5 kilo jumps here.
Yep.
Stop. Press. Back.
Nice second attempt.
A little bit of work to get that, but
Yeah, I mean, but once he got past and managed to straighten it out, it did ended up looking pretty tidy towards the end. Similarly to Sam Dew earlier, actually, when he unracked, he was quite shaky, but it moved pretty well considering. 137.5 on the bar now for Isaac Nathan.
a 7.5 kilo jump from his opener, which moved smoothly.
Yeah. Isaac really fired up on squat, seems a lot calmer for bench, which, you know, we do usually see. There are some people who do get very fired up for bench as well.
Those are the true hype merchants.
Stop. Press.
Nice and controlled, great press.
And that is a no lift, unfortunately. 2 to 1, a yellow on each side. which makes me think that that was his bum coming up. Yeah, it was a butt lift, unfortunately. So hopefully he can come back and get that on his third and just try and keep his hips down, his bum on the pad. Sam Kenyon now with 142.5 kilos on the bar.
Stop. Push. Back.
That is a good lift for Sam.
So Isaac actually choosing to jump another 5 kilos despite getting no lifted on his second attempt.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe he just feels like he's confident, or he feels like the extra weight will help him keep his bum down. No, I've not heard that before, but it could be the case. We've got Fraser now with 150 kilos on the bar.
Cheeky smile there as he sets up under the bar.
It's a 10 kilo jump from his opener.
Stop. Push. Back.
Ooh, nice. Very nice.
Thought you sounded scared for a second there. 177.5 kilos on the bar now for Adam. 7.5 kilo jump from his opener here.
You can confirm this is still a bench press.
I can confirm they're still benching. That was a bench.
This is quite a big one.
Yeah. This is
77.5.
yeah, almost 400 pounds.
Stop. Push.
Wow. Great tech, great execution there.
Yeah, very, very tidy from Adam there, and 3 white lights. We move on to the final attempts of the first flight of lifters. And first up is Aidan Horn retaking his first attempt.
Paparazzi, the famous.
105 kilos on the bar for Aidan Horn. It seemed like it was on strength in his second attempt, but we've been wrong before, and I hope we are.
Wouldn't be the first time today, so hopefully he can clean it up, make the adjustments necessary, and get this on his third attempt. ...105 kilos on the bar for Aidan. Gets
Seems
the start command.
Yeah, he seems to be in a better position.
Presses it. Just a bit too much again.
Yeah, did get it a bit further off his chest this time, but not quite there today, unfortunately. 110 kilos now for Kelsey Simmons.
Another 5 kilo jump.
Bars loaded.
110 kilos for Kelsey.
Stop. Push.
And he sticks with it really well. Unfortunately, just slightly too heavy. Speaking of 400 pounds, Adam has actually put 182.5 in as his third attempt, which would put him over that 400-pound mark.
Wow, yeah, that is a 5-kilo jump from his last, which looks more than doable the way that his 177.5 moved. First up, we have Harry David Shepherd with 120 kilos. Hopefully he can be the first person in this flight to get their third attempt in.
Great setup there. Getting that arch nice and high. Fortunately, just slightly too heavy. Cursed it. Cursed it.
Nah, that wasn't on me. It's only when you do it. I'm not the problem here. 125 kilos now for Tyler.
I will not say anything.
Tyler Cheshire, 125 kilos. This is a 7.5 kilo jump, bigger than his initial jump from first to second. Perhaps feeling more warmed up now, more confident.
Stop. Press. Back.
3 white lights, that is a good lift.
Starting
And
to think it is me.
and the first third attempt in, and I'm sure the first of many for the rest of the lifters in the flight.
Next group, you've got 5 attempts.
Henry Burton now, we have 130 kilos as a retake. Similar to Aiden, you know, we're not sure if this was on strength or positioning, so let's see how this goes for him.
Stop. Press.
Oh, he's pushing through. Oh, unfortunately not quite there today, but a really, really great effort for Henry. Same weight stays on the bar for Dan, who had a similar issue for his second attempt. He went from 125 in his opener, got that, went to 130, didn't manage to get it, and now is trying again for his third. So let's hope he can get this.
Stop. Press.
There we are, that's more
Great
like it.
press. Anytime soon.
He's currently sitting now on 91.21 GL points. I'm not sure how many competitions he's done before, whether he fits into the novice category or not. That's 3 competitions or less. Or,
You'd hope not with the 290 kilo squat.
man, could you imagine? Oh, just rocking up to my first comp, squatting
Diamond in the
290.
rough. Yeah.
Barely in the rough, you know.
Yeah.
Stop. Press.
Unfortunately, just a bit too much there. Still walks away with an 125 kilo bench press. We now move on to Anthony, who has 135 kilos on the bar also.
Bars loaded.
35 kilos for Anthony White.
Are they just changing the rack heights for him there?
Yeah.
Bar is loaded. Just redoing his wrist wrap before he gets on the platform. There we are, 135 kilos.
Hopefully that reset doesn't phase him out. Just stay concentrated. Okay, there's the on-rack. And he's given the Stockman.
Press.
Unfortunately, just slightly too heavy there for Anthony. We are now moving on to Isaac, who has 142 kilos, 142.5 kilos on the bar. Was given a no lift on his second attempt of 137.5 kilos due to his butt lifting. Opting to still add another 5 kilos heading into his third attempt. Brave move, will it pay off?
Bars loaded.
Bars loaded, 142.5 kilos for Isaac Nathan.
So here Isaac comes, a little bit more railed up this time. 142.5 kilos on the bar.
Stop. Press.
Unfortunately, a little bit too much today for Isaac. It was a risk moving up, but he took it, and unfortunately this time round it did not pay off.
The 247.5 kilo squat will probably outweigh that those
Yeah.
lost kilos though.
Absolutely. He's still sitting above 80 GL
Yeah.
points with one bench as it is. We now have Sam Kenyon coming up to take 147.5 kilos, a 5 kilo jump from his opener, from his second, sorry.
No more changes to openers, no more changes.
Stop. Press.
Oh, he's fighting against it, but I think the weight might win today, unfortunately. A little bit too heavy. 155 kilos now for Fraser Sigurdi Marriott, a 5 kilo jump from his second attempt.
Bars loaded.
Bars loaded, 155 kilos, Fraser Sigurdi.
Here comes Fraser. Two reds and a yellow.
Stop. Press.
Sticks with it. Great grind. Unfortunately, unable to get it to lock out.
That was a really good effort and almost a contender for best grind. I think we know who got best celebration.
Yeah, I think that's in the locker now, unless someone pulls out something crazy for their deadlifts.
If you weren't watching earlier, somebody after completing their final deadlift did a backflip into a full split, holding a sign with their own name on it. If that doesn't win, I don't know what needs to be
Doesn't get
done.
much better than that. We now, for the final bench press of this flight, we have Adam Madlin with 182.5 kilos. That is 402.3 pounds. Did that in my head.
So impressive.
Thank you very much. This is an absolutely monster bench here in the 93 kilo class.
Yeah. Weighing in at 91.65.
Stop. Press.
And he starts pressing, but unfortunately that's just slightly too much for him.
So we're moving We are moving straight into the next flight of benches, and after that there'll be a 10-minute break heading into deadlifts. I'm going to leave Stefan in the booth with you guys now. Thank you so much for listening, but I have to head off, unfortunately, so thank you, Stefan. And
everyone say thank you, Amelia, in the comments on the stream. She will be dearly missed. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for co-commentating with me, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, passing the reins over, and have a lovely evening all, and enjoy the rest of the competition.
Okay, first weight bar is 72.5 kilos at Joshua Coombs. Followed by Cyril and Nico. The bar is loaded.
We have Joshua Coombs with 72.5 kilos on the bar, starting off this flight. Press it back up, lovely press there. And that is 3 white lights. Up next is Cyril with 117.5 kilos for his opener. Some extremely high rack heights here from these 105 and 120 lifters. And here comes Cyril. I am now being joined in the booth by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Ibrahim Dridi.
Good evening, Stu. How are we doing?
Very good, very, very good.
I'm not going to lie, I was actually asleep.
Yeah, I woke Ilya up to join me in the booth right here after Amelia left. So if he sounds a bit drowsy, that's why I pulled him out of his slumber to join us
You know what?
here.
At least my voice is going to be nice and deep like yours. So this isn't how it sounds normally.
Stop it. We have Nico coming out for his bench press opener at 120 kilos. Nico, a very light 105 lifter, weighing in at 95.9.
With a current PR of 115 kilos. So this is what his first attempt, and he's opening 5 kilos over his PR. Let's see it.
Great way to open up his bench pressing. Let's see, start, come on. Presses up really nicely. Yeah, safe to say he's much stronger now than he was when he previously set that 115 kilo bench press PB.
100%. Lovely opener there from Nico.
Up next we have Billy Adlington with 130 kilos on the bar. We are switching between junior lifters and open lifters here during this flight, so a bit of a mix. And here comes Billy, looking cool, calm and collected.
Absolutely. Now this is actually the first competition of the year, I believe, in the UK that's following the new bench rules, so everyone's got an eye out, everyone's looking out to see how it's going to be implemented.
Yep. So far with these lifters, they've just been extremely long-limbed, with the rack heights ranging all the way up to, I believe I saw a rack height of 17 earlier for one of the lifters. So safe to say for them, it was no issue. In the previous fight, there was a couple calls for bench depth, but none that have resulted in a no lift. So not as strict or imposing as maybe people would have thought going into this comp. So people with big arches and short arms can sort of let out a sigh of relief to a degree.
They can
Some
still
people,
survive.
yes.
Now, there's been a bit of a technique that I've seen go around that people are talking about, where in order to achieve depth a bit easier, they just tuck their elbows a bit less. They flare it out a bit more, and that way their arms need to move a bit less.
Yeah, there was sort of this discussion about whether you should bring in your grip or maybe sink more, but flaring your elbows is, from what I've seen, is probably the most effective method, in my opinion.
Definitely.
There are also others floating about, as I said, like grip width, maybe sinking a bit more. I saw a really weird one yesterday. I don't remember whose story it was on, saying about wearing like a triple XL t-shirt.
You have to hide the size of your delts, right, to make them
them look bigger. Yeah. I believe that was
Ishtiaq,
Ishtiaq.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Big
it was
up.
Ishtiaq.
He's always looking for ways to
He
cheat
is.
his bench.
He loves his stories are always educational.
100%.
Ooh. I think he may have also skipped the start command, actually.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure if he jumped the start, but he definitely jumped the press command.
That's all right. He hasn't competed since September. Maybe he's just looking a bit rusty. And hopefully he gets back to it within the next effect.
He did actually get called on depth on his squat opener,
Really?
but then went up regardless. So I think we'll probably see a similar.
How did that jump go for him on his squats?
Yeah, it went well. He's he ended up getting the second attempt. Narrowly missing out on his third. And here we have Jack coming out for 135 kilos.
Now this is also above his current PR of 130 kilos.
Lots of people really showing out at this White Lights Media event.
And what a competition to show out at.
Setting the standards.
Absolutely.
Raising them.
Now a big shout out to White Lights Media as well for creating this great environment at this competition. It's really looking good. And what a smooth opener, but unfortunately the bum came up. Reds.
Yeah.
Now if you can just keep that bum down, that was a very, very smooth rep, and I have no doubt he can absolutely smash that out of the park on his second.
100%. Maybe I must say your voice sounds very ASMR at the moment.
Thank you so much. So does yours. So does yours.
You should start tapping on the...
Yeah. Not sure if the viewers are going to enjoy that.
Probably not. Well, let's mean it. We'll be getting some email complaints.
Yeah, we're never commentating for them again. No. Now, I can't actually find Jesse Meeker on Open IPF, so is this looking like his first competition?
There are a few lifters who are competing for the first time here. I know there is a Best Novice award going on.
Yes.
So if this is either your third or lower comp, so your first or second or your third comp, you're eligible to win the Best Novice award, and I believe that's done on GL points.
Now, what are the different awards that are being awarded at this competition? I can't quite remember off the top of my head.
So there is Best Novice, as we just said. There is a Best Grind award, which there's definitely been already a few.
There's been some spectacular grinds so far, haven't there?
Your client, Effie Menzies,
yeah.
she put up a great fight for that third deadlift.
Yeah, she really fought for it. Same as she did at Bucks, actually. Quite monumental from her.
Yes.
We have William Atkin, is it, up next?
Atkin.
He's actually competed a few times. This is looking like his 5th competition.
Seasoned vet then.
And he's got a very smooth opener there of 142, which, believe it or not, is only 2.5 kilos under his current personal best.
George Funnel next up at 145. William H. Thank you. 145 George Funnel.
We have George Funnel up next with a 145 kilo opener. Quite a few of these 105s are actually quite underweight for their weight class, so I'd be quite excited and interested to see them grow into their weight classes.
100%. That just screams potential, doesn't it?
It really does.
Screams
Mass
potential.
moves mass after all.
You'd know a lot about that, Ibby, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Mass monster.
Oh yeah,
Ibby.
totally. Man, I'm weighing so much these days. I think I might have broken 70 kilos the other day. It was great.
Here we have George Funnell coming out for 145 kilos as his bench press opener. Got 250 for his squat, so off to a really strong start here.
Now his current PR is 160 kilos, so I'm curious to see what jumps he takes. With a very, very soft touch there on the pause, he got a very swift press command. 2 for 1 with only 1 red light. You know what, I feel like I'm beginning to wake up a little bit. It's all this typing, just getting everyone up on IPF to try and get their numbers up.
Wait, you mean you weren't getting those out of your head?
I mean, yeah, nah, I remembered them. I've actually got a database of the Open IPF in my head.
We now have Mark coming out for 145 kilos. I believe his last name is actually pronounced Sawyer, which you wouldn't think from the
I'd have
spelling.
guessed Shaw.
Yeah, so would I, but apparently we got corrected. So yeah, Mark, if that is wrong and you watch this back, that is not our fault. We'll just shift the blame there.
Now Mark's come out in the fully blacked out Phantom SBD kit, and what a smooth opener there. Only 2.5 kilos under his PR. His last competition, which was actually just over a month ago, on the 3rd of December, he benched 147.5 kilos.
And he's now opening 2.5 kilos below that.
Opening 2.5 kilos under that.
And making it look extremely easy.
It looked like a last
That was
warm
really
up, if you
fast.
ask me. And we have Archie Carter up next, opting to go for no handout, no wrist wraps.
You should have seen him on his squats. He had no belt on, no knee sleeves. Genuinely.
Now, if you ask me, this is a true powerlifter. Oh,
Wow. Okay.
That was fast.
Means business.
And I believe that might have been a depth pull from the centre ref.
Next one is 50 kilos for Kenyon Assets. Darren and Joshua together.
Now we have Killian up next, opening with 150 kilos. This is the heaviest, well, joint heaviest opener in this current flight of lifters. And this is Killian's 3rd competition, where he's actually opening with his current PB benching competition, so I'm excited to see how this goes.
I'm loving the stats. I'm loving the stats. Giving us a real insight into some of these guys' competition history.
It's really interesting seeing these stats, because then you kind of get to see what these numbers really mean to these people.
For sure.
We've got a very slow, controlled descent and a powerful push. We'll definitely be able to bring that up a bit higher. And we've actually seen quite a few people since COVID opt for self-lift-offs.
Oh yeah, 100%.
There was a video actually that I'm watching by JP Couchy, big up, who went into very, very big detail on how to give yourself a really good self-lift-off.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't really have the option of a handout during COVID, as you said.
Exactly. It was either that or a side handout, wasn't it? Which never really went too well.
Always one side game. Lobbed.
Exactly. And we have Darren closing out the flight with another 150 kilo opener, with his current PR actually being 175. So I'm curious to see if he's going to take some big jumps, or if something happened in his training.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see whether Darren will or whether Darren will not.
I hate how funny that was. And he did will, yes. That was a very good opener from Darren, with just 1 red light from the side ref.
We are now starting off the 2nd round of attempts. We have Joshua Coombs coming out to 77.5 kilos. So just a 5 kilo jump from his opener.
And I believe this is Josh's first competition as well. I'm basing this entirely off the fact that I've looked his name up on IPF and I can't find it.
It's a good enough reason. He is still a junior, so 22 years of age.
And another lifter who's opting for a self-handout with minimal arch and no wrist reps.
A true powerlifter, as you may say.
Exactly. And you know what?
Sticks with it well.
I think the next White Lights Media Comp, they should have a longest range of motion award.
The deadlift specialist would be loving that.
100%. And that was a very smooth second attempt. So let's see if he'll push it for another 5 kilos to 82.5 kilos next, potentially. As we just see him discussing with his handler over there. And she's going over to submit it now.
Ibby, obviously you were handling earlier today in the earlier session.
Yeah, I was.
Talk to us a bit about the importance of handling in powerlifting.
Handling is extremely important because on the day as a lifter, all you ideally want to focus on is just lifting, right? And thinking as little as possible and just trusting the training that you've put your body through. So the importance of a handler comes in quite a lot, where you really have to take responsibility of decisions and understanding the lifter in your control. And with a very smooth second attempt here from Nico. And we see him yet again smash through his PR. So let's see what he puts for his third, and let's see what this comp ends up being for him.
Yeah. I think on the topic of handlers as well, today especially, more than any other comp, handling will be very important, because your handling decisions could lead to a brand new Elite bar.
Exactly. Was it the
best
biggest
grind,
the best grind, yeah.
Yeah, so
you really need to understand the lifter that you have to
100%.
to give him that true RPE 11.
yeah, so I hope all the lifters here today have chosen their handlers wisely to guide them in the right direction. If we had a longest range of motion competition, Cyril would definitely be up there.
100%. He'd be well in contention.
I don't think any
That has
questions
it.
there about elbow depth.
That was 127 kilos, which is 2.5 kilos over his current competition best. But he has also taken a 10 kilo jump, so he might be in for a potential 7.5 kilo PR. But again, we will see what his handler puts, while Billy Adlington comes up for his second attempt of 140 kilos, opting to take a 10 kilo jump from his opener. And 2.5 kilos under his current PR.
You can tell when people are used to setting up with their feet up on the bench, and now they're not allowed to do it. So he was just hovering his feet in the air. You know he wanted to put them on. Gotta adapt.
Exactly, got to adapt over this. I've only seen one lifter accidentally put their feet up on the bench, but
Yes.
they swiftly fixed it
remember
up.
that.
Yeah, and they got white lights. With a good lift from Billy Adlington, and let's see what PR he goes for next.
Antonio actually choosing to go up 7.5 kilos after missing his opener. So choosing the same approach as the squats, where he bravely went up despite getting called on depth. Let's see if that pays off again here on the bench press. We definitely wouldn't want to see anyone go home without putting up a total.
It's the saddest thing, seeing someone bum out. And obviously, we don't want this to happen to Antonio. Touch wood, fingers crossed. Come on, Antonio. He's got some really cool tattoos on his right arm.
He does.
A full sleeve by the looks of it.
Presses it up,
Keeps
keeps
pressing it up,
driving.
keeps driving.
Great press.
Now, personally, that doesn't look like there was any downward movement. Let's see the refs
Green lights.
You know
Risk
what?
pays off.
It really does. Antonio, I must say, I'm loving the confidence. You know what you want to get and you go after it. And he's got some really cool pink. I was going to say Romaleos, but I don't think they are.
Can't quite see from here, but they are cool. I must say they are cool.
Jack Hepplewhite also opting to go 10 kilos above his opener, which he missed. Now let's see how this one goes. Hopefully it's the same story as Antonio here, where he just absolutely smashes through it and then gets to take a big third. And with a powerful press up, doesn't seem like he skipped any commands, and that is 3 wide light, just what you love to see.
Up next we have Jesse Mika coming up for 150, so a very big bench press here. Obviously in the first round of benches, 150 was the heaviest bench press, and now we have basically half of the flight pressing over at 150 or over 150, so
Now, neither of us can bench 150, can we, Stefan?
Listen, this is that is not what this is about. You are very correct, though. One day, one day.
Start. Press.
Wow, great press there. With some really honest range of motion, may I
That was
say.
an honest range of motion. A very well colour coordinated outfit as well, going for the purple look. I really like purple. It's a good colour.
I think especially with White Lights Media being around, everyone's dressed up today, got a fresh
100%.
haircut, trimmed their beard, etc.
You know, I've noticed even a lot of the handlers have been going for getting some fresh haircuts. Everyone wants to look good in these photos.
Speaking of which, did you get a fresh haircut?
You know, I actually did, and I actually got it a few days ago. Though I didn't want it to be so fresh as to not.
Yeah, you
not
don't want to take
overshadow-
away.
Yeah,
You don't want to
exactly.
take away from the lifter, of course. You have to let it marinate a little bit.
Exactly.
And here we have William pressing
through that
stays with
sticking
it really
point.
nicely. Are the judges satisfied with the execution?
They are with 3 white lights. Well done, George. With Mark, I cannot remember how you said his second name was pronounced. Sawyer, was it?
Sawyer, yes.
Mark Sawyer. Now, I've seen Sawyer spelled as S-A-W-Y-E-R.
That's a Sawyer. What's his last name? Clat. That was a very strong lifter on Instagram, basically, in America.
Big up. With George Funnel coming for another 150 kilo press. 150 is looking just like a regular number for all of these lifters in this flight.
We are in the big boy weight classes, so expecting to see these big boy weights. Here we have George getting the unrack.
Start.
He's getting the start command. Wow, lovely press. Really lovely press.
That was a very soft touch on the chest as well. It's a very valuable skill to have, to be able to be in so much control of the bar that you're able to just get it directly into your chest without letting it sink.
Here comes Mark with a 7.5 kilo jump from his opener. 152.5 kilos on the bar here for Mark.
Now this is a 5 kilo PR, so he's doing this on his second attempt, so I'm excited to see where he goes from here. Now in his last competition he did 147 for his second attempt and unfortunately missed 155. So let's see if he can smoke 152 out of the park and redeem himself with an even higher bench.
Well, if his opener is anything to base this off, I'd assume this will also move really well.
Oh, definitely.
Looking really composed here.
Press.
With a lot of
Great
control
press.
over the bar. That was a great press. What do the judges say?
2-2-1, good lift, 2-2-1, good lift for Mark. 152.5 on the
Was that a red light on
Quite-
depth?
Can't quite see. Can't imagine that was on depth. Perhaps she saw something that we didn't see.
Maybe.
Of
And
course,
that
that's why the
is
judges.
why we're commentating
Of
there.
course. That's why coaches don't play.
Exactly. Now we have Archie Carter coming up for his second attempt of 152.5, opting to go 7.5 kilos up from his opener.
No, I believe Archie did receive a red light on depth in his opening
Yes.
attempt.
Rack.
Wow,
Makes
that was
really
a
easy.
very,
work.
very last second.
152.5.
And here we have 3 white lights.
Perhaps just sink it a bit more than his opening attempt.
Definitely. And it also it does come to show as well, this guy does have a lot of range of motion, but the fact that he's tucking his elbows in quite a bit can make it seem like he's moving it less than he is.
100%.
With Darren coming up with a 155 kilo press. Now, I'm unsure if I've got the wrong end of the stick here, but it seems like he's only competed in the United Arab Emirates before. So I'm unsure if he's travelled specifically for this competition or whether he's moved to the UK since March of 2022.
Listen, Ibi, I will not sit here and tell you that he hasn't done that. Sorry, that was horrible. Anyways,
You know
I've been
what?
doing this all day. Amelia's been sick of me.
Well, you know what? I'm already sick of it. No, you know what? I'm not. That's a lie. Let's see it, Darren. Come on.
Press.
great press there. Did he keep everything intact?
Yes, he did. 3 white lights. The reps are happy. And we have Killian ending the flight of second attempt bench presses with a 160 kilo press.
Now Killian displaying a real ability to grind on the squats. So let's see whether he can take that into the bench press. Really surprised me on the squats. He didn't quite make his third attempt at 260, but his second attempt at 250 was ridiculously hard from what it looked like, and he still almost got 260. So yeah, I wouldn't count him out if this ends up looking more difficult. And it actually doesn't.
That actually moved like a second, and this is a 10 kilo PR. A 10 kilo PR from Killian. He's really showing out today, and it's looking like once he's opened his deadlift, he'll be on a 685 kilo total. So we'll definitely be hoping to see him break that 700 plus mark.
100%. We are now heading on to the third round of bench presses, starting off with Joshua, who has put 82.5 kilos as his third attempt here. A rack height of 14. So
Rack height 14.
very tall rack heights.
I saw someone's squat rack height, which I believe was 24 today.
24?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if... Yeah.
I definitely saw a 21, so 24 doesn't sound too far-fetched.
You know what, if you ask me, that's a pretty tall rack height. Now let's see it, Josh. Third attempt. Let's get building on this total. And he put his last attempt. Now, if he gets this third bench press, he will have a 600 kilo total upon opening his deadlift. So let's get it, Nico. Nico is only 18, having just joined the juniors. Now, I don't know about you, but when I joined the juniors, my total was nowhere near the confident third, which now, as we can see on the scoreboard, tells us that he'll have 600 kilos upon opening his deadlift, with Cyril coming through with a 7.5 kilo jump to 135.
Looked comfortable in the second, so
It did. And this will be a nice 5 kilo PR, something reasonable to go for to just build on the total.
Yep.
And upon hitting this, it will give him a 605 kilo total upon opening his deadlift. So 600 is looking very regular for everyone here. Not something you often see at regional competitions.
Press.
With a lot of control on the descent, and what a clean push. Very clean push.
After this flight, after this round of bench pressing, we will be taking a 10-minute break. So it's about 7:30 right now. So by the time that this round of bench pressing is over, and then the 10-minute break, we should be looking to begin deadlifts at around 8 p.m. So make sure to stay tuned.
It's always fun watching these deadlift battles, isn't it?
Yeah.
And whenever, I don't know about you, but whenever I see a good deadlift battle, it really just motivates me to get back on the platform in hopes of being in a battle like this myself.
If anyone would be in a deadlift battle, it would be you, Mr. 290.
I'd love to be in a deadlift battle with you, Mr. 300.
Oh, stop it, stop it.
Alright, come on, Billy. Going for 145 kilos for his third, which will give him a 15 kilo PR on his bench press. Now let's make it 3 for 3.
Press.
And he paused it for a bit longer after getting the press. Let's see if he can grind through it, and unfortunately it just wasn't there today. But
Which is completely fair, because that is a lot
of weight. It is. But regardless, he comes out with 140 kilos, which he missed in his last competition. So a lovely 10 kilo PR there for Billy, coming in strong by the time he gets into his deadlift.
Just taking a quick selfie there.
And Antonio Rizzitello with a 145 kilo.
Yep, this seems like the right jump for me. 142.5 was a very risky play. Played in his favour.
And it was a 2.5 kilo PR as it was.
But it was rather difficult, so he really played it right to the end. So this extra 2.5 kilos will just aid to build that total. Let's see if he can do it.
Press.
And he presses.
He presses through. Can he grind
Really
through that
good
sticking
position
point?
at the
And
moment.
he's getting through it. If he keeps pressing through, come on, Antonio, and unfortunately misses it at the top. Now that, if he was able to push through, that would 100% be in contention for the best grind prize. But alas, he can still redeem himself on the deadlifts.
We now have Jack Hepplewhite coming out for 152.5 kilos for his third and final bench press.
Now, just a reminder that Jack's current bench PR is 130 kilos.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And this was hit in December. This was a month ago. Now, did he just sandbag it, or has he just made some crazy amount of progress? Now, I want to get in contact with his coach.
Press.
Unfortunately, it just wasn't there. Tried to use potentially that momentum from the heave in his advantage, but just wasn't quite there today, unfortunately. But he still comes out with a 15 kilo bench PR, which is massive in 4 weeks of training.
Now we have Jesse Mika coming out for 155 kilos on his third and final bench press. Got to stay hydrated.
I tried not to swallow into the mic there. This is not an ASMR stream. I repeat, this is not an ASMR live stream.
I beg to differ.
And we have Mr. Purple Colour Coordination.
Here is Jesse.
Did you catch what was on the back of his singlet? It looks like this was potentially a uni team singlet.
Yes, so I believe it was Durham, if
Durham
I'm not
University.
mistaken.
Stop.
We'll get a better look when he
Press.
turns around again.
Driving,
wow.
that sticking point, his right arm really
Did the
survived
judges see
that.
any downward movement?
And they did not. White lights. It was Durham indeed. Doing Durham proud with a 155 kilo Chad press, as some people may call it, with the level of close gripness that was.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about his depth there. No doubt about his pressing power either. With William coming through with another 155 kilo bench press attempt, which will give him hopefully a 10 kilo PR from his last competition.
Stop. Press.
What a catch from the spotters. Honestly, big shout out to the spotters. They have been on form today, catching, you know, a fair few 250 plus kilo squats with no troubles whatsoever. These guys are really, they're doing God's work, as the phrase goes.
Yeah, yeah. And these, I mean, obviously these events wouldn't happen without them, so props to them.
Absolutely.
We have George Funnel coming out for 155 kilos on his final bench press of the day.
For a neat 2.5 kilo PR, hoping to chip his current best that he hit at the British Junior Championships last year.
Yeah. Yeah, he's getting serious now. It's not all funnel games.
Stefan, please.
And he's grinding. Unfortunately, there was downward
Unfortunately, it just
movement there.
wasn't there today.
Definitely some downward movement there, I'm afraid. It was insane. You weren't going to get it anyway. Back to save your energy for the deadlifts. 157.5 on the bar for Mark Seal.
Mark Sawyer is coming.
I'm hearing different pronunciations now.
Mark, if you're watching this, we do sincerely apologise if we mispronounced your name. But as someone whose name regularly gets mispronounced, I understand the issues.
Do you want to clear the air right now and pronounce your name for the fans?
My name is Stefan. Come on, Mark. Let's go for this 10 kilo PR from his last competition.
Yeah,
He absolutely smashed 152 and is going for a safe and steady 5 kilo jump.
Can he hit the mark here?
Oh my god.
Press.
He can, as you saw.
Wow. You know, that was actually really good. And well done, Mark. Not only hitting a big bench PR, but looking stylish doing it. He's really looking good going into the deadlifts.
Yeah, here comes Darren.
All right, just go on. Just get the penalty system already.
Nah, I've made the Wilmot pun too many times. I made it with you and with Amelia. So
I guess you, Darren, not do it again. All right, I'm gonna let you do the puns. It's not my forte. All right, come on, Darren. Now it's looking like Darren has been previously competing in the desert barbell meets with the United Arab Emirates powerlifting scene actually coming through quite dominantly recently. They've really grown within the past few years.
Isn't that Adam Fulat twins there, doesn't he?
I believe he
Does it
does.
bubble? Yeah.
And a previous GBPF member, Eamon, actually I think was involved in it, and a good lift from Darren, securing his third attempt at 157 kilos.
Monster bench press. Here we have Archie Carter coming out for 160 kilos. Quite a fitting name for the bench press.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't get this one.
Archie, man.
Oh,
he's arching.
Yeah. Oh god, I think I'm still waking up. Oh, he's had two really well executed first two attempts, and I'm excited to see this one absolutely fly and look like another opener.
Press.
Wow, what a clean press from Archie here. That was incredible. Well done, Archie. Looking strong going into your deadlift.
And the final bench press of this, well, of the day, is Kylian de la Placette. Been practicing that one.
Yeah, that was some incredible pronunciation there.
With 165 kilos. Really big bench press here.
Now this is looking to be a 15 kilo PR from his previous meet at the British Junior Championships.
So I believe he's actually a French shooter.
He is.
Press.
And he drives it
Drives
up. He's still with
through
it.
that sticking point, and unfortunately just wasn't there. But regardless, he's coming home with a 10 kilo PR on his bench press with a big 160 kilo press, which on bodyweight means he's actually got the biggest bench of this flight regardless.
And that now wraps up the bench pressing for today. We will now be taking a 10-minute break, and we will be joining you again for deadlift. So thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, Ibi, for joining me. I'm sure you will also join me for the deadlifts. Those will be really fun.
Absolutely.
And we will see you guys in a bit. Hello everyone. We are
Welcome
back for the deadlift session, final deadlift sessions of the White Lights Media Championships down in Southampton. Obviously been a really entertaining day so far. Hopefully we can round it off with some exciting deadlifts. To be fair, deadlifts always tend to be the most exciting lift.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, looking to round off the day really nicely. Now we have Aidan Horn coming out for 175 kilos for his opening attempt. This flight is the 93 kilo class.
Now he
The
seems
lifter
to only
has
be
been
wearing his
told
crew
that he
socks.
does not have the long socks on. He does not have the deadlift socks on. Unfortunately, this will be a timeout.
Well,
for Aidan.
looks like he's got about 10 to 12 minutes maybe to get to sourcing socks.
Yeah. So
Now it's always a good idea for your first competition to really just make sure you've got a checklist that you
and
can
also
tick off.
that the job of sort of someone handling you would be to make sure that all these things are in check.
100%.
Just so you don't have to think of any of these things. Like you said, just thinking about the lifting, not thinking about anything else. Almost going on to autopilot, getting in the zone.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, you can't beat yourself up too much. There are no bad days.
There are no
bad days.
Now Henry Burton is coming out with a 100 kilo opener, opting for a very wide stance sumo deadlift. And how fast was that opener? Oh, and
Turn
he
me
is
up.
happy.
That is 2 whites to 1. And here comes Harry Shepherd with 190 kilos on the bar. Hopefully looking to make light work of this. And we can just breeze through these deadlift openers.
Oh yeah, and his current deadlift PR seems to be 185 kilos. So he's opening with his froggy stance on a 5 kilo PR and a smooth and clean opener, but he seems to have lost balance there.
Did he get the down command in time? Yes, he did get the down command in time.
Or did he just drop it that way?
He did seem to be losing balance from where I was sat, so maybe 1 second extra and he probably wouldn't have got that lift.
But
obviously not a
regardless,
strength issue. Regardless, he can now move on. He's got a deadlift on the board. He can look to adjust what probably cause his balance to go off.
Kelsey is coming through with a 192 kilo opener, which is also a PR, 7.5 kilo PR from last January, February, March, April last year. Insane, crazy bananas. How mental is that to open 7.5 kilos above your opener? And another sumo deadlifter. It's something that you begin to see less and less common across the higher weight classes, as the sheer mass means that they just tend to opt for a wide, narrower stance. But what a smooth opener here from Kelsey. Are we to see an easy 200 plus?
Some really good openers here.
And Dan Bush with a 205 kilo PR coming to open with 195. It's definitely looking like a strong day for the people of this flight so far.
See all these people pulling conventional. Why not us?
Why not? Why do we have to pull sumo?
Wow.
And what a
Great
smooth
deadlift
opener there.
Great stuff from Dallas. We now have Sam Kenyon coming up for 225 kilos for his deadlift opener.
regardless of what the weight is. So I'm curious to see whether this is something that's to do with the weight or if it's just how he deadlifts.
And as you can see up on the screen now, Jason coming out, he had an absolutely monster squat, 290. Attempted 295, unfortunately was slightly too much for him on the day.
And with a signature mark of respect, bowing at the platform before getting on.
Last act. Come on, Jason, turn me up. 275 kilos for his opener here.
Wow. What a smooth pull. And he knows it. He knows it. What a beautiful
already on a 690 total.
There's something just so satisfying about watching a sumo deadlift that just clicks into position like that. And now we're moving on to the second round of attempts, where people will hopefully be pushing towards either their PRs or nearby to prepare themselves to hit some cheeky little PRs on their third attempts and to really let the monkey out of the bag.
It's always good seeing lifters when they know that they've absolutely smoked a lift, they can't stop cheesing. Exactly. Just smiling ear to ear.
Now let's see it, Aiden. 180 kilos. Now he seems to have brought his long socks in, and what a smooth 180 kilos. And now I'm hoping he's able to take a jump where he's able to PR on his deadlift and really do it justice. And you know what, it is quite upsetting when something so trivial such as, you know, clothing stops you from lifting, because it's not even that he couldn't execute properly, but just, you know, a mistake on.
I wonder whether he went into the warm-up room and took an attempt to keep himself warm. He did jump up 5 kilos, so you'd assume he didn't, but I've seen weirder things at powerlifting meets.
Yeah.
People not being allowed to get their opener on the platform, so they go and do it in the warm-up room, just so that they don't lose out kilos and momentum.
And Henry with a very, very smooth second attempt. Now let's get some weight on the bar, Henry. We want to see you struggle. Let's go for that best grind achievement. Here we go. Harry Shepherd coming out for a 200 kilo second attempt. Now this is, he's already PRing on his deadlift just from his opener. So it seems like Harry has been on a very good day so far, with his total already being 517, which is a 15 kilo total PR. So well done, Harry. Let's keep it up and let's really keep focused on these next two lifts.
Harry's training has been going really well, following it. And yeah, he's been doing really well, so hopefully he can keep up this momentum. Not to jinx it, but he has been having some grip issues in training.
Let's hope he can really just
he's a smart guy himself, so I assume he will have made the necessary adjustments.
And he seems to have got the down command, but I don't know about you, but I did see it start to slip in his hands
a tiny bit, so maybe there will need to be an adjustment made there prior to coming out for his third attempt.
With Kelsey Simmons opting for a 207.5 kilo second attempt, which is absolutely huge compared to his last competition. His last competition, he hit 185.
Yeah,
his final deadlift.
This is head and shoulders above his previous comp. Head, shoulders, knees and toes.
Knees and toes, knees and toes.
And here he comes out for 207.5. Makes comfortable work of it. Gets it to lockout.
Should be probably right the lockout, but that looked good to me. And I imagine that might.
So the centre judge is indicating that the lifter dropped the bar instead of following it down to the floor. So just, if you are new to the sport of powerlifting, you haven't competed before, you need to follow the bar down to the floor with your hands still on the bar, so it needs to be a controlled descent.
With Dan coming up for a 210 kilo deadlift, which is a 5 kilo PR from his previous competition at the end of October. So let's see it, Dan. Let's prepare ourselves for a big third attempt. And you know what, that was slow but expected for a second. You can definitely see that he's got more in the tank. So let's see if he's going for the best grind achievement today. With the spotters and loaders speedily loading up 240 kilos for Tyler.
Of course. The really underrated part of handling and competing in general is understanding how, let's say, a second attempt, the fatigue from that second attempt would then affect the third attempt. Because you may, for example, let's say you squat 240, but you had 250. That doesn't necessarily mean that when you come back out, you will be able to squat 250 because you'll be carrying the fatigue in for the second attempt. So that's why, also going back to your point of having someone that knows your training and knows how these lifts affect you could be really beneficial for the lifter. So yeah, it's a bit of a game as well.
100%. You need to really understand the jumps that your lifter knows how to make during their training. And what a smooth second attempt here from Tyler. And that is 3 white lights. And let's see if he goes past that quarter-ton mark today. If he takes the same jump as he did from his first to his second, that's a potential 255 kilo deadlift.
245 for Sam coming out here. Hoping for a exciting deadlift session here. Yesterday's sessions were also quite good. Obviously we had the 83 kilo class was probably the main attraction, if we had to say, yesterday. Yeah, some big names there as well in the 83 kilo class yesterday.
100%. And Sam with a very smooth 245 kilo pull. We're seeing some good attempt selection so far from these lifters.
245 kilos, raises to goody variants.
This song has been on repeat for the past 2 days.
It doesn't miss.
And it reminds me of the lockdown TikTok days.
Yeah,
it was a very popular song, wasn't it? It reminds me of summer and good times. And Mr. Fraser, look at the size of his arms. And a smooth 245 kilo deadlift. And the refs are happy. Well done, Fraser. Let's see what you've got for your third attempt.
Next weight on the bar is 250 kilos for Isaac Nathan. Bar is loaded.
250 kilos for Isaac to match his current best, which he set in, I believe it was May 2022 at the British Championships. And he's getting hyped, really beginning to get that focus. It's exciting to see lifters just put the rest of their energy into these deadlifts and really just show what they've got.
He's been fired up from the start. He was even getting fired up on bench press.
Yeah,
not as much, obviously. He likes to stay composed, make sure the tech is on point. Here we go, Isaac, 250 kilos on the bar.
A little bit of a struggle at the lockout, but he seems to have held it on. That is 2 white lights. The refs are happy.
You're right, this song really is amping me up.
It is, isn't it?
Reminds me of that lockdown song. You know the one I'm talking about.
Do you want to sing it?
I'd love to sing it. We have Adam Madeline coming out for 272.5 kilos. That is 600 pounds on the bar right there.
Pounds and a 2.5 kilo PR, opting to chip his current PR.
Absolutely massive deadlifter.
It's not often you see someone who can bench a lot and also deadlift a lot.
Yep.
Some impressive stuff here.
Oh wow, and he's pulling really good patience
really
off the
patient
floor.
off the ground, patient at the lockout.
Fantastic.
That looked incredibly stable, and the refs are happy. Well done.
Great pull. Great pull.
Great pull here. The monkey really left the closet with this one.
Anthony White coming out for 275 kilos. Wow, we're really getting some big deadlifts here. And then we've also got Jason following Anthony with a 290 kilo deadlift.
290.
Hopefully looking to see a 300 kilo pull today. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see one yesterday. I think we were probably expecting one from Adi, who unfortunately seemed to have picked up a back injury, which kind of derailed his prep by the looks of things and his performance.
And Anthony really sticking it out at the lockout and holding it at the top.
Great pull.
That is a 25 kilo PR. You know, I was talking to Adi yesterday, and he asked me are you going to compete this year? Because I haven't competed at all in a while. And I said, I don't know. And he really brought about some good light in saying it really doesn't matter whether you're going in to hit PRs or not, because what we end up enjoying, and people don't really care whether you PR or not at the end of the day.
Completely true.
And he really did come about it with a very mature mindset, because he's definitely gone through some struggles in his training, and the mindset that he has really shows a lot of resilience. So I'm excited to see where Adi comes or goes to. Now Jason is coming with a 290 deadlift, and that is looking smooth.
Unfortunately, just drops it. I assume he'll probably come out and retake that. But you raised a very good point by what Adi was saying yesterday. A lot of the time people get too caught up in the whole process of competing and wanting to obviously have that competitive nature that they forget a really core element of the sport, which is the enjoyment, right? Exactly. The experience. And obviously like an event like today.
Enjoying the event and the atmosphere of the event. Well,
100%.
Obviously we always want to hit PRs, we always want to improve and be the best versions of ourselves, but we need to look at it from a bigger scale than just individual competition to individual competition. We've got to see it in the bigger picture, and sometimes you go through downward trends, but if you continue competing, then you then end up being even stronger when you get back to competing.
100%. So yeah, Adi obviously very experienced lifter, so shedding some little nuggets of wisdom there.
100%.
Unfortunately, after that performance yesterday, it is looking increasingly likely that he will be on Tom Napper's stake.
Now Henry Burton finishing with a 100, or Aidan Horn, sorry, finishing with a 190 kilo deadlift.
Great.
And he looked very happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, he should be proud of himself in the performance he's put up today. We now have Henry Burton coming in with 200 kilos on the bar. And this is where things really start getting fun on these third deadlifts. You just feel the energy in the room.
100%.
All of a sudden.
And Henry Burton has really been getting hyped today, showing his energy. And what a third attempt! That was looking too easy. He absolutely smashed through the 200 kilo mark.
Passion right there.
What a big boy. Now speaking of big boys, there's a chat actually on Instagram that I've got with some of the UON guys. And we went through a bit of a phase where we were adding just kind of powerlifting and fitness celebrities. We added Chris Bumstead, we added Russ Swall, and a few others. And out of nowhere, this was when the chat was at its quietest. I just got a notification from Russ Swall saying the big boys, huh? and then he changed our name to the big boys in caps and just said, this is your name from now on. And then I can't remember, he said something else and then he just left.
Head
and we
shoulders,
were kind of
baby. Head and
shoulders, baby. We were just had it like, what? Russ Swall just joined the chat. And
we
Harry
Shepherd here. Has he made the adjustments necessary to hold on to this deadlift at the top? Unfortunately,
wasn't
that
able to
grip
keep it there.
just goes. Not a strength issue, so I'm sure that is something that he will work on in the coming months and really look to clean up. But he should be proud of the performance that he's put up today. Obviously, training's been going really well. Showed out nicely on the platform.
25 kilo total PR for Harry.
Yep.
Which is a big PR to hit. So well done to you today, Harry. And we're hoping that you're able to hold on to your deadlifts going forward.
Kelsey Simmons coming out for 215 kilos on his third and final deadlift attempt.
And what a smooth pull. He's holding onto it at the lockout, and that is a huge 30 kilo PR just on the deadlift from Kelsey Simmons here, with a 512 kilo total, which is a 97.5 kilo PR from April last year. Massive well done, Kelsey. This is incredible.
Huge.
With Dan Bush coming up for a 220 kilo deadlift to PR.
Yep.
By 5 kilos.
Serious weight here.
A conventional deadlifter showing us how real a real deadlift looks like, and he's really grinding it out through that lockout, and that was looking smooth.
No questions there. 3 white lights. Great deadlift, and what a way to round out his day today. now have Tyler Cheshire coming out for 250 kilos. So spotters and loaders really being tested here, adding all the plates on as we get into these really big weights. 250 kilos on the bar for Tyler. As he comes out. Come on, Tyler. This is a 10 kilo jump from his second attempt.
Now, you know what? A very long top hairstyle with a fade is something that's usually quite hard to pull off, but I feel like Tyler's really rocking that hair.
And he's pulling.
And he's holding it at the lockout.
Did he satisfy the judges? Yes, he did. That is 2 to 1.
260 kilos being loaded up for Fraser. Yep. Which is a 15 kilo jump. Again, which should put him at a 640 kilo total.
Let's see. Can he pull this out the bag?
Now he's getting hyped, he's really getting focused. Now these lifters have a minute to begin their pull, which is an incredibly long amount of time, and it's very good to see lifters who aren't panicking and really do make use of that and just allowing themselves to set up with their regular routine in their own time instead of letting the kind of the fast pace of the competition psych them out.
And it's composed. Great pull off the floor. Can he get it to lock out? Yes, he can. And the judges say 3 white lights. That is a good lift. 260 kilos for Fraser, which puts him at a 640 total for the day. Great performance from him.
Massive performance with Isaac coming through with a 260 kilo final attempt, which is a 10 kilo PR on his deadlift. Now his current total is 627, and this will give him 637, which would be a 7.5 kilo total PR. So let's get it, Isaac. Keep bringing that energy. He's been bringing about some good energy today and really showing what it means to focus and zone in today as he's setting up for his deadlift and taking his time.
See Isaac, come on.
Come on now, mate. Let's see it now.
And he's sticking through it. Keep on. Unfortunately, it just wasn't there today. But being a good sport is going to shake the ref's hands. It's always good to show them some appreciation, because the only time that the refs are usually recognised is when something's going wrong or the lifter is unhappy with the decision. So it's always good sportsmanship to just show the refs that, you know what, they're coming here in their own time, and ultimately as humans just doing the best job that they can. Having that social respect is always a positive thing to see from these lifters.
Goes a long way.
With Sam Kenyon coming for a 265 kilo deadlift. A conventional 265 kilo pull is massive as he sets up and sticks through it, and unfortunately just didn't make it past the knees, which can be quite a bit of a common sticking point for a conventional deadlift. But regardless, a big performance from Sam, breaking past that 600 kilo total with 605, so massive well done here today.
We are now into the final 3 deadlifts of this flight. This flight will be followed by the 105 and 120 kilo weight class flight. 3 lifters remaining are Adam Madeline, Jason Moore, and Anthony White
is loaded.
277.5 kilos for Adam Madeline here.
5 reds and a biscuit.
That is 5 kilo jump from his second attempt,
which will give him a 7.5 kilo PR.
Wow.
Let's go, Adam.
695 would be his total if he gets this.
And setting himself up nicely.
He pulls, really patient off the floor, great position. Can he
stick with it through the lockout?
Ah.
And unfortunately, it just wasn't quite there. It seemed like he started to shift back at the quads just a bit too much to try and begin getting it up, but it just wasn't there. But regardless, performance he should really be proud of. And again, being a class act, shaking the ref's hands, just making sure that he really shows their appreciation. And what a fresh trim and beard cut from Adam today. With 290 kilos being loaded on the bar for Jason. I'm really hoping that he can stick with it and show what a strong sumo deadlift and pretty sumo deadlift looks like at the 290 kilo mark, which would also give him a 705 kilo total. So I'd love to see him break past the 700 kilo milestone.
That elusive barrier.
Yes. Now let's see it, Jason. Set yourself up as the dramatic music comes into effect.
Just in time, and he's holding great pull. Can he get it to lock out? Unfortunately, grip just goes in that left hand.
Just goes a bit too early, but regardless,
we'll end the day on a 690 kilo total,
which is huge.
Yes,
that is a big total to hit.
It's a fantastic total. He should be really proud of that.
Now Anthony White with 295 kilos being put on the bar. This is a 45 kilo PR that Anthony is attempting over here, where he opened his deadlift 5 kilos above his current PR. The spectacular, spectacled lifter is coming in with some energy.
Yes. Let's see now, Anthony.
What he's got with the black and white theme.
Biggest deadlift of the competition so far,
and he's sticking with. Unfortunately, it just wasn't there today, but he gave it his best shot. And again, it looks like these lifters are really showing some good sportsmanship, showing the refs that they're appreciated. And a big shout out to the refs who undertake their referees exams in their own time, and then coming down to these competitions in their own time to give back to the sport. 100%. All of that good stuff.
Shout out to the refs, the spotters and the loaders, and to yourself.
To yourself.
Thank you very much.
Now Stefan.
And of course the Great White Lights Media team, we have Amar right in front of me, just being my absolute goat. Now,
we are moving on to the second flight of deadlifts.
Straight into it, they're just giving the floor a little bit of a hoover, making sure that there's no excess chalk and talc on the floor to give the lifters the best shot at displaying their strength. And then we will be right back
now
to your schedule.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to see any 300 kilo deadlifts today, but yet we are seeing Mark Sawyer open with 305 kilos today, and I'm really excited to see where he goes from this. Now, Stefan, before this flight starts, where are people to find you if they are to want to talk to you or get in contact with you or see your lifting?
Well, if they wanted to get in contact with me, they would go to my Instagram, which is @Thickereaders. I made that handle a very long time ago, so don't judge me on that. Or @Bubble Coalition. I had to drop the little plug there. What about yourself, Mr. Ibby?
To find me on Instagram, my Instagram is @IDStrength. I actually made this account in end of 2015 and just haven't updated the name since. 2015?
Yeah. Lifting since 2015.
Yes, I have since August of 2015. Wow. And Josh is opening with a very strong, very easy 170 kilos. But yeah, I opened it in 2015. That's when I started lifting when I was 16.
Explains the experience mindset.
Now, we don't talk about the bodyweight, however. Now, we've already had a very strong start to the final flight of the day. Now, today there were 3 separate sessions of lifting, which, regardless to say, is a very long day. And we're definitely putting in our last final efforts, putting in the last of our energy before everyone is ready to clean up and go home, as Archie Carter comes
Archie has refused to use a single bit of equipment all day, and you can do nothing but respect that.
And he's showing us what true raw powerlifting looks like, and how fast of an opener is this. Archie is just looking unstoppable today. He almost looks unimpressed.
Extremely nice, doesn't want to create any dents on the floor. What a lovely gentleman he is. We now have William Aitken opening at 222.5 kilos, which is 22.5 kilos under his current PR, so I'm hoping to see him break through that today. Little voice break there. It happens to the best of us. I reckon he can break through his PB.
And looking at that opener, I would definitely agree with you, Stefan. As he sets that back down calmly, he knows that he's absolutely smashed that opener, and he's on for a good deadlift session here, as the spotters load 225 kilos for George Funnel. His current PR is 252, so again, definitely within reach of a PR here. as he opened his last competition with 215 kilos, as him and his coach are both looking happy. Let's go, George. Let's start strong. Show a strong opener.
Just want to use this opportunity to thank our sponsors, Lico, who have provided this competition with all the plates,
Brand new
racks,
plates.
bars, brand new, the new edition of the Lico calibrated plates. And also our sponsor A7, who is providing all the wonderful outfits that you see these spotters and loaders wearing on the platform.
Really colour coordinated, as Jack Hepplewhite comes in for a 225 kilo opener, which is a 2.5 kilo
So it's a nice deep
PR, and that is just looking smooth from Jack. And that is a 2.5 kilo PR straight off the bat, very smooth, very nice, as 245 kilos is being loaded for Nico.
Bobby is loaded 2.5 kilos, Nico Bargioni.
Nico's looking focused, he's looking hyped, and he's ready to put up a big show. As he sets up for a very, very wide plate-to-plate sumo deadlift. As he sets his lats, gets himself into position, setting his hut grip in. And what a smooth deadlift with a very, very, very powerful lockout here. Well done, Nico. And so far, everyone is on the board for their opening deadlifts, as 245 is also the same weight that Cyril is opening with.
Here comes Cyril. Yeah, he's a bad man. I was just talking to Jasper, who is handling him today. And he was saying that I believe he would need 260 or 265 to qualify for All Englands, which is the total that he is going for today.
And you know what? His current deadlift PR is 275, so I'm sure that'll be no problem for him. He's been looking very strong today.
That he's been dealing with some back issues.
That is unfortunate.
But Jasper was saying that if his back was fine, he would up his opener to 245, which is what he has done. So you can only presume that his back is feeling good today.
And you know what?
Really
That was a very, very smooth opener. He is looking powerful despite whatever back issues he's been having, as Antonio Rizzitiello has also 245 kilos loaded for his opening deadlift. Now his current PR is 260, so this is maybe even something that he could potentially match on his second attempt and just really go for broke on his third.
2.5 kilos to Rizzo, Billy and Jesse, get ready.
And you know what, I haven't seen one of these old school strength shop singlets in a long time. That was actually the singlet that I very first competed in.
Yeah,
And boy does it bring back memories.
I've got that exact same singlet in my drawer at home. Just gathering dust.
As he sets up for what seems to be a wide conventional stance or a narrow sumo stance.
This is what you were talking about in these heavier weight classes.
Exactly, and what a powerful opener from Antonio here.
That is 245 on the board. And it's actually the only opener that he made today, so hopefully that sounded like I was taking a shot, by the way. I wasn't. I'm just saying that this will now give him the ability to build momentum over the course of the deadlifts.
Absolutely.
Which is obviously, we want to see these lifters really
And what better
display.
lift to open well on?
Of course, we want to see these lifters showcase what they're really, really capable of. And when you obviously miss out on an opener, it doesn't really give you the opportunity to do that unless you really, really want to take a risk. Which, to be fair, he did on bench press.
And it paid off. So well done to him, with Billy opening on 260 kilos, 12.5 kilos under his current PR, with a powerful conventional opener here, representing the full strength shop outfit. Well done, Billy, you're looking strong today, as 270 kilos is being loaded for Jesse Mika.
These are some really, really big deadlifts here. I'm really interested to see what Mark ends up pulling in the end. So I'm really curious to see how his deadlift opener is. 305. Obviously, you had up until 3 minutes prior to the flight starting to change your opening attempt. He hasn't done that, so 305 will be what's going on the bar for him.
Absolutely. with team.
So if you're new to watching competitive powerlifting, you may occasionally see attempts change. That is only on the third deadlift. So on the third deadlift is the only lift that you're allowed to change after you've already submitted it.
275 kilos, that is 5 red plates and a collar being put on the bar for Kylian de la Placette, the French shooter, much like
Allez.
Antoine, who is absolutely insane
Yeah,
as well.
Antoine is absolutely off his rocker.
Now let's see what
Allez,
Kylian
Kylian.
has to say. Allez Kylian. 275 is actually currently his personal best, and I'd love to see him absolutely destroy this and show the deadlift that he has in him. With a smooth opener, holding it strong at the lockout, and that is 3 white lights from the referees, who are very, very happy with this lift.
Also 275 for Darren.
His current PR is 305 kilos, and by the looks of it, he, in his last competition, he opened 275 and took a 25 kilo jump to 300, and before that, he took a 30 kilo jump, to 305. So this seems like someone who's used to some big jumps on his deadlift. So let's see how his opener looks and how strong he's feeling today.
Actually attempted 315 and 318.
And what a powerful opener. He looked in total control of the weight there. And yet, he almost looks unhappy at that. But at some point with these lifters, what may look like disappointment is actually just an angry, focused face. With Mark Sawyer opening with 305 kilos, looking confident, walking onto the platform like he owns it.
He's been looking cool, calm, collected all day. Hasn't changed his facial expression once. He means business. It's
really
business
does.
time.
With a sumo deadlift, and
wow.
what a smooth
My
opener here.
word.
305 is absolutely nothing for Mark here. Do you know, this is actually his PR. That was his PR. What he just lifted there is what he hit. His final attempt a month ago. Well done, Mark. And I'm very interested to see where he goes to from there. As the bar is now loaded with 185 kilos to start the second round of deadlifting.
My God. Mark has put 325 in as his second attempt.
That is 6 red plates. Now,
You now have Joshua coming on for 185 kilos for his second attempt.
looking calm and collected, taking his time like we discussed, really making sure that he sets up the way he wants to, and that was a smooth second attempt. Let's see what the referees say. And that is 3 white lights, no doubt about it. And I'm very excited to see where he goes to from here. Hopefully we're going to see a 200 kilo deadlift from Josh today, which will also break him past that 400 kilo milestone, as 220 kilos is being loaded onto the bar for Archie. 220 kilos is one of the most monumental milestones you can hit as a powerlifter for your deadlift. It marks 5, regular gym plates.
Or 4 red plates, yeah.
Exactly.
It just feels I feel like, just thinking back on my own training, when I first hit 220, I had a real moment where I was like, okay, this is actually a decently impressive deadlift. Yeah. I felt a real sense of accomplishment with 220. I don't know, it was just
like
one of those
that
numbers. Yeah, that guy.
Exactly. And that was a smooth second attempt from Archie, as expected, as 237.5 kilos is loaded on the bar for George Funnel. George is currently sitting at a 625 kilo total, looking to build onto this, hopefully to 650 and potentially beyond today.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the more lifts that you make, that funnels into a big total.
Haha. Come on, George, with a faded buzz cut. He's definitely looking sharp today, and that is a sharp-looking deadlift now.
The judges
He
happy
does
with that.
seem to shift back quite early, which seems to have been spotted by the centre referee, but he still got 2 white lights, as we just see the centre ref indicate that he was dragging it onto his legs. And now it seems like the side refs will be aware of this, so I'm hoping that this is something George can compensate for in his final pull.
Comes Jack Hepplewhite.
237.5 kilos, which is a 15 kilo PR, and how smooth is that looking, with a little bit of a struggle at lockout as expected for a second attempt conventional deadlift, and he is looking happy with that. He's feeling good. I'm excited to see what he does for his third attempt, as William has 242.5 kilos on the bar. Now the platform crew's really being efficient today. They're getting through these loading like wildfire. Now let's see it, William.
It's 8:30. I'm sure they will, after a long 2 days of hard work, it's natural for them to want to get home. So.
And that is a clean
242.5
kilo total.
Great lift. We now have 257.5 for Nico. He is already at a 602.5 kilo total.
Now 257 is a 27.5 kilo.
Being handled by Jason Coltman.
Now Jason Coleman's been in the British powerlifting game for a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah, obviously extremely experienced guy. So I'm sure this attempt selection will be spot on. And so it is. Still leaves some room to grow into the third attempt.
I'm definitely hoping
Antonio coming in.
Antonio coming in with some Riz. Going 2.5 kilos above his current PR for his second attempt. Now Antonio is clearly a very confident lifter. He knows exactly what he wants, as we've been able to see from his squat and bench attempts, and going for a PR on his second attempt deadlift, as he takes his time before getting onto the platform, really establishing dominance over the weight.
Yeah, he's been staring down these weights all day, by the way. Squats, bench, deadlift. It's an angry man.
He's really saying that
paying
deep
off.
hook grip. Now let's see it, Antonio. And what a strong and smooth second attempt. Now, the one red light was from him dropping that second attempt just a few inches off the ground, but not to worry, he still got that second attempt. Don't you worry, Antonio, you're still on for a very powerful third, with 265 kilos on the bar for Cyril, which is 10 kilos under his current best. Now he's taking a 20 kilo jump to this. This will give him the qualifying total, as you mentioned, for, was it juniors? All England, sorry. He's not a junior, he's not.
I'd be very terrified if he was a junior.
And this will give him that qualifying total, and then which gives him plenty of room to do just whatever feels right for his third, whether that means leaving it there for his back or just going for a PR or something.
Yep, 100%. Lots of options here after this second pull. Hopefully he can just execute. Ball gets away from him a
sticking
bit.
with it. He's brought it
managed to
back,
get
and
it
so long as
back.
he holds it and holds that lockout, that is a very powerful, very strong grip on him. 3 white lights, and well done. Cyril, you have qualified for the All Englands, and I look forward to seeing what you have to bring there with hopefully less so of any back injury.
Yes, 100%. That's always the... And it goes back to that point you made about not necessarily competing under the perfect circumstances.
Absolutely.
Right? Doing it for the experience, but it definitely does bring joy to people when you're able to go into a prep just fully healthy, and your training's going really well, and you get to see what you're really capable of.
100%.
So really looking forward to seeing Cyril's
With
future
a
performances.
2.5 kilo PR for Billy here on his second attempt. Let's see what you've got, Billy. This is 5 reds. A big conventional deadlift here. And that is looking powerful. His positioning is looking strong, and he's holding it at that lockout. What a confident deadlift here. He's not even looking back. And that is 2 for 1 with 1 red light on soft shoulders by the looks of it. But regardless, that is something that's just a very simple technical fix. He is still looking strong as ever today.
Right, Ibby.
Stefan.
These last 4 deadlifts, we are touching some very serious weight.
Oh yeah.
So, the 4 remaining lifters are Jesse, Killian, Darren and Mark. 3 of those lifters, Jesse, Killian and Darren, are doing 290 as their second attempt.
Wow.
With Mark attempting 325 kilos as his second attempt. Let's see what these lifters can bring here on their second attempts. 290 kilos on the bar for Jesse Meeker.
First up, representing Team Durham and Team Dual Strength. Very powerful second attempt.
Will we see 300 kilos from him today?
You know what? I hope so. I hope so. 300 kilos is such a monumental achievement to hit. That's like a lifetime achievement now. If we're able to see something like that today at the Wildlife Media Championships, that would be incredible. As Killian comes up to hit the exact same weight. Killian's been looking very strong today, so let's see what he's got. And Killian is only 19 years of age.
Wow. Much less insane than Antoine, as we said. But an insanely strong guy.
And he's sticking with it and getting into that lockout. He shifts it back and holds it there. Let's see what the referee's saying.
2 to 1, 2 to 1. Good lift. Wow, will we see all 4 of those lifters I mentioned pull those weights?
Now imagine four 300 plus kilo pulls at a regional competition, which this technically is. That is incredible to see. While this is a regional competition, we can definitely see from the standard of refereeing that these lifters are being held to a national standard now.
Yep. Here comes Darren with his trainers, which he's been wearing for all 3 lifts. So no slippers, no heels.
Because you ain't never catch him slipping.
Just trainers and raw power.
And it seems like he's taking a much more
see it now,
reasonable
mate.
15 kilo jump. Come on, Darren. Let's see a powerful pull from you today as he brings it all the way to the lockout.
Judges say 2 to 1, that is a good
That
lift.
really seems to have taken it out of him.
I'd be surprised to see him come out again for a third, but he will be more than happy to leave the 290 kilo deadlift, which is absolutely
Most
monster.
definitely. As Killian is putting in a 300 kilo deadlift as well. We are seeing at
So
least
just
3 actually, 300 kilo attempts. And I'm curious to see what Darren will put on. Well done, Darren, on sticking it out through what was clearly a very tough lift.
No, you guys at home can't see this, but Mark is just looking cool as ever on the sidelines as he strolls onto the platform. 325 kilos on the bar. Everyone on the edge of their seats here. Come on, Mark.
And again, he's approaching this exactly as he has his opener. He's taken his time. He's showing who is boss. Come on, let's see it, Darren. And
Wow, what a pull.
smooth deadlift.
Wow, what a great pull. That puts him at a 737.5 kilo total. And funnily enough now, we have 3 lifters who are at 700 plus kilo totals. We have Killian, who is on a flat 700 total. We have Darren, who is on a 707.5 kilo total. And as we just mentioned, Mark on a 737.5 kilo total. That 730 mark plus is
a big mark to hit.
really serious weight.
Mark is currently sat at 325 deadlift with his PR being 327. And wow, he's put in a 337.5 kilo third attempt, which would be absolutely humongous. As we go into the third round of deadlifts, 195 kilos is loaded on the bar for Joshua Coombs. And this is a lifter who has been calm. He has been composed throughout today. And as per usual, on his third deadlift, he's not getting into his own head. He knows exactly what he wants. And what he wants is a 195 kilo deadlift that will take him to a 407.5 kilo total as he takes his time, as he sets up right.
And he pulls.
And he's sticking
he's still with it.
He's stick with it.
Can he
throughout
get
the
it to lock out?
And he's holding it at the top there confidently. And the referees are happy with that. That is 3 white lights. What an incredible day from Josh, breaking through that 400 kilo mark as he hugs his spotter. And they're both looking incredibly happy with his performance. Massive well done today. With 230 kilos being loaded on the bar for Archie Carter. He's visiting the dentist. 230.
Classic. I thought mine were bad.
No, they are not as bad as mine. That's why I've been staying silent. Now, it is a general rule that by the time it gets to the third deadlifts, between every attempt, the bar is to get cleaned and brushed, just to make sure that it's as fair as possible for everyone, that there isn't anything left on the bar, especially since people can end up going quite overboard with talc and chalk.
Yep.
So you want the bar to be as clean as possible. The final deadlift from Archie Carter, who's been looking very, very strong today. So let's seal the deal. Let's finalize today with a powerful deadlift. Oh,
wow.
And that was easier than his second attempt. Incredible stuff. Archie, who arguably has been the calmest lifter of today, going over to shake the ref's hands, show a bit of sportsmanship, show a bit of appreciation, as 245 kilos is being loaded on the bar for George Funnel. Now, George's current PR is 252.5 kilos.
Followed, 245 kilos, George Funnel.
Let's see it, George, as he approaches the platform steadily and calmly.
Okay, so Darren, after appearing to have had 290 take a lot out of him, has still put in 300 kilos as his third and final deadlift attempt, which means we have 4 300 or more kilo attempts here
I'm
that
excited.
we will be witnessing.
And what a powerful final attempt from George here, who gave a little nod there at the top. He knows that he's done well as he shakes his arms. He's got a nice smile on him. He goes to hug his hand. Like, very, very good stuff here.
Just on my feet, Eddie. I'm on my feet because
Literally, you are standing up.
I'm standing up.
Do you reckon I can do it as well? My thing's attached to a boom. You could lift it up. Oh, lovely stuff.
Oh,
So
this
we're
is
both
great.
stood
This
up,
is
getting
fantastic.
excited.
Hopefully we will inspire the fans as well.
Yeah, let's all get
Get
stood
the
up.
atmosphere going for these final deadlift attempts of the White Lights Media Championships in Southampton.
As a 250 kilo deadlift unfortunately gets dropped by Jack.
Yeah, speaking of
Jack, 250 remains on half of William. Nico is okay ready.
With 250 kilos also being loaded on the bar. That is a quarter of a ton being loaded for William Atkin. Now this is a 5 kilo PR for William. Let's see it, William. With a Taylor Atwood-esque hairstyle, looking very sleek, looking very smooth.
There've been some great hairstyles throughout
They
this
really have.
competition.
Plenty of inspiration.
That should have been one of the awards. Best hairstyle.
100%. And he is
He's
grinding
still
it
pulling.
out. Stick with it, and unfortunately he loses it halfway up the quads. But you gave it a good fight, and well done, William, today, ending
We are-
with a 592 kilo, 10 kilo PR total.
We are not even halfway through these third attempts, and we are already loading above a quarter of a ton.
Incredible, incredible.
This is extremely high standard, high quality lifting for a regional event.
100%. And this just comes to show how far British powerlifting started to come, right? Where even at regional events,
Turn me up.
turn me up. As Nico is looking fierce going into this 262.5 kilo attempt. Now this is a 32.5 kilo PR from his previous competition. Let's see it, Nico, as he sets his lats as he does for every attempt and gets a deep hook grip set. And he's sticking with it, and he's holding it throughout the lockout and shifting
Great
himself back, and what a powerful third attempt. And he even had more in there as he's looking happy with that. That is a 3 for 3 on his deadlifts. With, what's that for a final total? 620 kilos. That is, I can't even calculate. His previous total was 547. Wow. He's breezed straight through to 620. What an incredible amount of progress from Nico. Massive, well done. This 267.5 kilos is loaded on the bar for Antonio.
Let's
This
go, Antonio.
is a 7.5 kilo PR.
5 kilo jump from his second attempt. Should be there, I believe. It should be there.
I believe Antonio's shown that whatever weight he puts on the bar, he will hit, provided it's not his opening squat.
Here we go, getting in the zone. Come on, Antonio. Really getting focused. This is where it matters, the third and final lift
As he sets his deep hook grip as he usually does. He's using the exact same routine. He's not changing anything for this deadlift. Sets his hips low and starts pulling, and he's holding it through that lockout. And what a powerful deadlift. And he calmly sets it down on the ground before letting out a fierce growl. Massive, well done, Antonio. That is 635 kilos, which is a 10 kilo total PR. So well done.
We now have Cyril coming out for 272.5 kilos. That is a 600-pound deadlift on the bar. His 265 deadlift was with the intention of getting the All England qualifying total, which he got successfully. The bar did get away from him slightly off the floor with a 265, so I'm sure with a small technical adjustment, he'll be able to really display his maximal strength here.
For sure.
Come on, Cyril.
We want to see it happen.
600 pounds.
Now he's taking his time, really getting in that zone, making sure that he's setting everything absolutely perfectly for this final deadlift of the day. He's already qualified for All England's. Now he's just going for that 600-pound mark.
Can really give it everything.
And unfortunately, it just wasn't there. Yeah, he seemed to just point at his back there at his coach or at his handler. It seems he just didn't want to risk it and hurt his back any further, as 280 kilos is loaded on the bar for Billy Adlington. 280, that is an 8.5 kilo PR for Billy. 8.5? Did I say 8.5?
Oh, so no, I just didn't know whether he like
7.5
a record or something.
No, 272. That was
okay.
it. I misspoke.
It's okay. I'll let you off because you were sleeping prior to joining me on the comments.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure things are still feeling a bit foggy. Shall we say. I made some horrible maths mistakes earlier, so I'm not one to speak. And here comes Billy, 280 kilos on the bar.
Sets up for a conventional deadlift, taking his time to set his grip right. There's absolutely no rush, plenty of time here. As he sets his brace and begins his pull. And can he hold it through that lockout? Can he push through? He's held it through to the top. He's received the down command. And the referees are happy. That is 2 for 1. And he finishes off today with a 642 kilo total, which is a 7.5 kilo PR. Well done today, Billy. Now, Stefan, what phase of the competition of the deadlift battle are we entering?
This is 300 plus kilo territory.
Wow.
That is a lot of work.
How are there still 4 more lifters?
Yep.
And yet we're at 300 kilos.
And these are all, another thing to know is these are all 105 kilo lifters. These 4 remaining lifters. So still very impressive weight for the weight class.
Incredible. As
Impressive weight in
Jesse
general
starts pacing up and down. Now,
100%.
something that I've noticed is Team Jewel Strength has been very active in this competition. I've noticed the coach who I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's had quite a few lifters that he's handled. He's also refereed, so definitely someone who's putting a lot of effort into the sport. As Jesse holds it and locks it out and holds it to the top of the deadlift. What an incredible start. And he gets 2 white lights as he celebrates with his coach. What an incredible start to the 300 kilo deadlift party.
What a fight there, that was great.
Now that is how I want my first 300 kilo deadlift to look like.
We now have Killian coming out for 300 kilos also. The bar is loaded for Killian. Everyone getting behind Killian as he approaches the bar for a 300 kilo deadlift.
Allez Killian. He's getting hyped. He knows exactly what he wants.
Let's see it, Killian. 300 kilos on the bar. And he's driving.
Away from him, but he brought it back, and he's keeping it close to his center of balance, and he's getting close to that lockout. He fought with it. He battled and he held it to the top. Now he's got that down command. Let's see what the referee's saying. Unfortunately, it seems like it was a call for hitching.
Yes.
But wow, what a fight. So far, every lift with 300 kilos has been an incredible fight. And to even be in a position to hit 300 kilos but it not be to competition standard is very strong.
Yep.
And I'm sure Killian will come back with a vengeance in his next competition and absolutely smash this through the park.
And here comes Darren, also with 300 kilos on the bar.
What an
We're in
absolute
for a
fighter.
treat here.
He fought through that 290. He almost passed out, and now he's coming through with 10 more kilos on the bar. As he's taking a big deep breath, he's really getting himself nice and composed, ready to put the rest of his energy for the day as he marks to the spotter to just have his back in case anything happens. He's ready to put absolutely everything into it. Come on, Darren, let's see it.
See it, Darren. Big pull here.
As he's still taking his time.
300 kilos. And he's driving.
And he's driving. And unfortunately, it just wasn't quite there. He lost it at the lockout.
Seemed to have.
And well done for attempting that and really giving it a fight.
And now we have the final lifter of the day, Mark, with 337.5 kilos on the bar.
Now that is 337.5.
744 pounds.
44 pounds. Oh yeah, it says it right there. I don't know why I was trying to calculate it.
I found out the hard way as well.
744 pounds on the
look
bar.
at him.
And he's looking composed. He's looking calm.
So cool and collected.
He knows exactly what he wants as he's sat there nodding his head. He's getting ready. He's getting ready to put on a big showing. This is the biggest deadlift of the White Lights Media Championships 2023 in Southampton as the crowd gets active in support to see what is looking to be the second 300 plus kilo deadlifter of this entire competition, who opened at 305. He's looking calm. He's looking composed. I want to see him lock this out and hit
Plenty
a
of
big
time here.
deadlift PR as he sets up nice and powerfully.
335 and
And he's bringing it up and he's sticking with it. And he's oh no, unfortunately it just wasn't there today. But regardless, he gave it a massive, massive, massive fight and ended with 325. Now, in this entire competition, we've had two 300 plus kilo deadlifters. How incredible. And every attempt at 300 plus has been an absolutely incredible, incredible fight.
That was incredible. That was an incredible deadlift session. What a way to end it. Then the day and also end the White Lights Media Championships out here in Southampton. Thank you all for joining us online. Thank you to everyone that came out.
Thank you
today.
to the spotters, thank you to
both
the
days.
loaders. Thank you to White Lights Media for organising this. This has been an incredible feat to organise, and it really turned out well. And there were a few hiccups to begin with, but they really, really made it through and just put up an incredible competition with an incredible, amazing atmosphere.
And again, thank you to sponsors Alico and A7. That is all from us here at the White Lights Media Championships in Southampton. Thank you all for joining us, and we will catch you guys soon.